Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday night. It is time for No Remorse. We've got some new stuff this week, so you're probably going to see some glitches and things going on here, but we're going to try and get this set up so we have a way to switch through our stuff a little nicer. Some new graphics, new transitions. We're going to try and keep all the comments and stuff from moving us around the screen, but this is all a learning process for us. We're kind of new at it, but appreciate everyone that popped in tonight and came out to see us once again. Jason to my left, I guess it would be my right on the TV or screen, but Jamie below us there. We are Morphforge, and this is No Remorse. We have a special guest tonight. We've got him sitting backstage, so we're going to make our intros and our huge news. Kind of brief here, but if you haven't noticed a theme tonight, we've got a little news notification. This is pretty big news on our side. We've talked this over with Sammy, and we are merging with bull pythons out there. We're going to merge Morphforge and bull pythons. We're going to swap half the collections each direction, and we're going to try and work projects that way. I know Sammy's probably crapping his pants out there. We're not doing that, guys. We're not. But we did get a nice package from him. He sent out 3 T-shirts. We had to wear them tonight. Very nice. Thank him once again for that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you can get the back on there, he's not slacking, so that's kind of nice. And if you need anything, call him directly on that phone number back there too. So Sammy will always pick up. But that's our spiel. We're definitely not merging. So sorry, Sammy, you don't have to panic. Anyway, we've got our typical intro stuff here. We always do our trivia at the end of the show. It's something that Jamie just randomly picks out of the whole content of the show. Could be something Angel says, could be something Jason says, whatever. $10 if you get the answer right. We bank that for you. You can put it toward whatever you want. Snakes, hats, future purchases, future clutches that you might be interested in. Never goes away. You always get to keep that, but it's basically dollar to dollar. So $10 goes in your bank if you get the right one. Pay attention and get the right answer. Easy money. But let's see who we got tonight. Looks like we got quite a few faces out there. Blakers, appreciate you. You're here every week. Thank you, sir. And I always get this thing behind me all jostled up. Oh, goodness. We were going to save this, but he's one of the first ones in here. We also got, out of a auction, some awesome shot glasses from the ambassador himself, Kike. We wanted to do this right on screen. We loaded him up knowing he would probably be in here, so we're going to just quick get a shot out of the way in his honor. Salute, sir. All right. Bosa, again, I don't know how good those come out on the camera, but those things are awesome. It was an auction for Maki. She had a motorcycle accident and some medical bills and things she was trying to get, covered or a little help with. So we sat in that auction. We got some snakes from Pip Stalkers and those awesome shot glasses. So awesome. Appreciate it, Kike. And here's Nikki. She's circle pals with our guest tonight, Angel. So yeah, she was anxious to see this one. She's been messaging and posting up. So good to see you, Nikki. Appreciate it. Tell Kurt hi too. Oh, and Thorin, of course. Vinny, good to see you, man. You've been out here every week. Can't say enough how much we appreciate the support. That's means a lot, especially when you're starting out and don't really know what you're doing. Ken, appreciate you too. We were on Ken's show, and we got to return the favor and get Ken out here on ours too at some point. Booked up all the way through the end of July right now. But Ken, shoot us a message. We want to book you in and get you on here. Appreciate you coming out, man. All those guys in RWO. Connie, that's our mom. She's here every week. Got to support the boys and her favorite daughter, Jamie. She's got to be out here to watch and get some chuckles, see what we do with these silly snakes. But Python Portal. Seen you bopping around too quite a bit. And I almost wanted to say Python Patrol. We knew them a while back, and for whatever reason, I kept reading it that way in all the chats. So I apologize if I said it that way. But thank you for coming out. Appreciate the support. Tim, that's the counterpart to Connie. The old man is probably doing shots of his own without the Kike glasses over there, but he's kicking back, relaxing this time of night, just catching the show. Appreciate it, Tim. Wiz. Gotta get the. Ah, that's out. Appreciate you coming out, Wiz, as always, man. He's here every week. Super appreciative. And there's Vance, our first guest, and he's always up in here too. Vance couldn't get a nicer guy in the community. You got any questions, or you just want to get some ridiculous memes in your DMs on Insta? Cracking up all day with some of the junk he's sending over, but appreciate it, Vance. Banna, here comes the party people. Banna brings them in with her too. Appreciate you, Princess Banna. Thanks for coming out. Oh man, who do we got? Oh, Robert Wade. Now I apologize to Robert personally. This is a guy that's local to us. He's about a half hour, 40 minutes north of us who started into his ball python journey too. Hopefully we can get together on some stuff down the road and maybe have some overlapping projects. That'd be awesome. But thanks for coming out, Robert. Appreciate it. There they are. Ashley, Nikita. Appreciate you too, of course. We just got 2 snakes from them. Same auction from Maki's deal. Beautiful snakes in excellent condition, but super
They're
excited
awesome.
to work those in.
I
Yeah,
have them.
Jay got those on his side. They went directly into his collection with the Hypo DG clown stuff over there. So
I was sad to let that little guy go. He's so pretty.
yeah, man, that little male is something else. Super pretty, but if you
I'm
want to
like,
see some
here,
fire snakes,
no.
those 2 are putting out some nice stuff. So check them out if you don't already know them already. There
Talking
he
about you
is.
already
And
know.
I was late to this, but we're going to do it anyway. It's just part of the deal now. Every show, Purple Rain is going to get played when this gentleman stops in. So appreciate you, Don D.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Josh, thank you, sir, for coming out. Appreciate seeing you here too, man. It's crazy how many of these names we're already starting to recognize from every week, and I can't say how much that means, especially to a new show. Just stumbling around in the mud trying to figure out what we're doing. That feels good to see people back. Jose is one of those guys too, man. Back and forth. He was on ours, we're on his. Jose is an awesome guy.
Top-notch guy.
Look all these people up. If none of you guys are linked up out there in the chat, get linked up. Hit each other's Instas, hit each other's YouTube channels. Check each other out. Make sure you're all subscribed. James, every week comes out. Same. Can't say enough how much we appreciate it, man. Charlie, there he is. We've got some stuff to send off for you now, Charlie. We're banking it up. We got several that are going to need to be checked here because they're getting close to size, and we got to know which way we're going with them. So, Jason Opelt, appreciate you, old family friend, stopping in again. Thank you, sir. Where are we sitting, Jamie? Getting anxious to get Angel out here.
I know. Here we go. Emily, Emily, and then we're all caught up.
Oh, okay. Emily, that's the DeHaven Ranch. She's probably watching with Sam over there. Whole family is an awesome family, and we will get her on at some point too. Amazing jewel crafter, metal worker. I don't know what she prefers to call it. Metallurgy. I'm not sure what her technical term is. We'll ask her when she's on the show.
Metals.
I think it's. Isn't it wire warper?
Yeah, wire warper. Yeah, metalsmith. I think that might be right, Jamie.
Wire whipper.
There you go. Could be. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. It is much appreciated. But without further ado, let's get the reason we're here tonight, or at least the reason us 3 are here, and hopefully most of the audience too, is to get to know Angel better. Angel, you probably antsy back there. You ready to come on out? He's nodding. He's nodding. I don't hear him, but he's coming out whether he wants to or not. Oh. Angel Caro. Appreciate it. Much appreciate you coming out.
Oh, we lost his audio.
Oh, I think we did, and we lost the mute. Had him working a minute ago, but give him a second to get that mic.
How about now?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty good.
All right. I switched to the wires because I think this will work a little better.
Sure.
Yeah. Sounds great now. Angel, hope you're having a good Wednesday night. Appreciate you coming out to sit with us and visit. And we are going to put you through the typical stuff that probably a lot of people out here know about you, but we really don't know you that well. So
you never know. You could ask me something I've never answered before.
Okay, well, hopefully throughout the show that's the case. But tell us a little bit about you. We know you're in the Pacific Northwest, out in Washington, but um, interest in snakes, how long you've been at it, and just generally what your current story is.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thanks a lot for having me on. I really appreciate it. Um, so that's first of all. I really, I love doing these lives. So anytime, it's always I really appreciate doing these things. They're a lot of fun. But my origin story, um, it's different. A lot of people, that do this, they grew up, catching stuff and and running around in the woods and so on. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in Brooklyn in the 80s and the 90s, and there wasn't a whole lot running around that I wanted to catch.
Yeah,
So
you don't want
so
those
the
concrete lizards.
so I'm not going that way, but I've always had a love for animals. I went to an agriculture high school, worked on farms, and did things like that. And then one day I was just going to a local pet shop, picking up some dog food or something, and my girlfriend at the time pointed, and she was like, "Hey, there's a sign, there, help wanted." And I was like, "All right." I was probably around 17 years old at the time, and it was an exotics pet shop, local in the neighborhood in Queens, and they had you know tropical fish, saltwater, and they had reptiles and so on. And I had worked in veterinary medicine, did grooming and assisting before that, and worked with farm animals and random things here and there, but never really any like true exotics. But I needed a job, so I went and I talked to the owner, and he's like, "Oh, you worked at the animal hospital," and one thing led to another. I didn't even as soon as I got home, I had the phone call, and then I think a couple days later, I started working there. And it's a mom and pop shop. They're called Paradise Aquarium. They're in Queens, New York. They're still there. They've been there since 1962. Family owned.
Wow.
Great family. Gary's the owner. Amazing friend of mine. I invite him to my wedding. Like these people are family. I spent 6 years with this family, and I had no interest in reptiles. I had no interest, zero. I thought they were cool. I liked I had a turtle once. Like I didn't have, like I wasn't into it. Like I thought they were cool, and like my boss Gary was all into reptiles and exotics, it was all reptile stuff. And this was going. I got the job. I think it was like '97. I started
Okay.
working there 97, 98, and he could tell he could totally see my apprehension. So he worked with me on certain things, and he pulled out animals that he knew would be really chill. I remember it was a black Mexican king snake, and I was holding that, and that was really cool, and like so on, and he walked me through it, and he just said he's big on reading, so that there's a huge library, and this is '98, so there's not much of an internet and information out there. So he had this massive
Yeah.
library, and he was like, take any book you want, just bring it back, when you're done. And I just didn't bring them back. I started buying them, and I just amassed this collection. They became so fascinating, and then over time, I just started I was like, I want something. And the first animal that I got from this shop was a ball python. I got an African import. I was there. I opened the bags, like 50 babies in there, all covered in ticks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you have to treat them. It's that bag. You know what? I can be honest with you. I've probably had first morph things go through my hands and didn't even know it. Like
Oh yeah.
me and him try not to talk about that sometimes, because we used to get
Right.
all of these bags, and we were just like, oh my god, the things that we saw, they were like, oh, that's kind of cool, like whatever, just didn't think
Yeah.
about it. Because at the time there was albinos, pieds, orange ghosts, um, genetic stripe, and I think maybe pastel when I first started.
Yeah.
So a lot of things like, and those were completely out of reach. Like I bought, like albinos were going for, I don't know, like 50 grand a pair or something like that at the time. And yeah, I just started really getting into to different things, and it was a great experience, because having this person, this mentor, who had been doing it since he was a kid, telling me all these different things and showing me animals, and we started doing things together. He was telling me about reptile shows. He does reptile. He bred boas. He was a big boa guy, so we used to do reptile shows. And I remember he bought a pair of Call albino boas for, I think he paid like 10 grand for the pair at the time. raised them up, bred them. We were doing the White Plains show. It's a big show over there in the East Coast. And, I started doing stuff. I got some things. I got into leopard geckos and crested geckos. And I got into, I just couldn't stop. I lived by myself. I was 19 years old. I got my first apartment at 19. Most 19-year-olds are like having parties. I'm filling the room full of animals. I have all these animals everywhere, and I'm just obsessed. I was breeding. I had children's pythons. I had tons of leopard geckos, tons of stuff. I don't know. I just was really into it, and it's just from then on, I just kept going. So I've been doing this since '98.
Okay.
And that's just like the thing too. Like a lot of people, like, oh, again, like they grew up around it. I didn't grow up around it. I kind of just fell into it, and it's been a hell of an addiction since. I'll tell you that much.
But what a great place to fall into it, though.
I'm not.
It sounds.
Yeah, I'm not. And I feel really lucky too to still be here from starting then and seeing how not just the ball python market, but the reptile industry changed. So much. Since then, and for the better. I would say. It was really hard to get information.
Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was just going to say, back to what you're saying, going through the bags and how many probably new morphs that you just were looking at, like, wow, that looks really odd or different, right? But the focus really wasn't on that back then. I mean,
No.
you knew, like you said, the five different genetic, visuals that were kind of known, and they were rare, and people probably weren't, other than accidentally having them and then being able to produce them. I mean, they didn't even know which ones were het, which ones were dominants, any of that stuff at that time. So it was like it was just kind of a blind luck thing almost, It's crazy how it's changed.
And I think when we go back, and that's another thing I'm really big on is like the history of the industry, and I think it's because I saw a lot of this stuff. And so for me, a lot of the people that I really looked up to back then were David and Tracy Barker from VPI. I even bought stuff from them. And back then you had to call them.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So I had to call. You get on the phone, call, and then they would mail you a price list. And hopefully by the time you get the price list and you pick something and you call them back, that they still have it. You send them a check or a money order in the mail, and then you wait weeks and weeks and weeks. There are no pictures. You don't get to pick shit. You don't get. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can drop bombs.
You're fine.
You're fine.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about it too. Is like you have what we have today. Morphmarket was a dream. Like that's a dream. So
right
for me, when I think about the fact that I was just I ordered a pair of children's pythons from them because I loved they came out with a book, Pythons of the World Australia. Awesome book. If you've ever seen it, get it. Great book. And for some reason I could not get these animals out of my head, and I ordered a pair from them, raised them up, bred them. Amazing snakes. And got to talk to them on the phone, ask questions, but that's how it was. But I never picked out the animals I got. I just got what I got,
Right.
And now I understand the frustration sometimes, when people are like, oh, they asked you for like 300 pictures. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. I know it's a pain. But man, it would have been nice to have one back then. Like just one picture.
Yeah.
So when someone asks me for pictures, I don't mind that much. I'll go take a couple extra pictures. Someone asked me the other day and he was like, can you give a video? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do a video. Like, whatever. I don't care. Like, it's fine. It's not that big a deal. I'm not, I'm not Spielberg. I'm not doing this from different angles. We're not doing anything like that. It's just quick 20, 30 second video.
Yeah.
And it's not too much to ask. It's really not.
No.
So.
But what a different experience for you coming in the way you did compared to what we hear so often. So like you really didn't have the interest. You had a job that you needed, and you fell into like a perfect mentoring situation where people would love to find that scenario now. The ones that have the interest already, right? And that's
it's fortunate
here is you need that.
And it was way harder for something like that to happen back then. Like that's just a chance. I got hit by lightning. I can't really complain about it. And we're still friends to this day. Like I've known him for geez, I'm gonna kill myself here. For over 25 years, I've known this guy. I've known the family. Their son, who was a year old when I met them, he's now a teacher in the high school I used to go to.
Uh,
And that's the same high school he graduated from. And he went back and he now teaches there. So the history I have with these people is incredible. And I absolutely adore these people. They're amazing, you know, and
nice.
having Gary and working with Gary every day, it was like working with your best friend every single day. Every single day I got to go in. And what did we talk about? We talked about reptiles, but what we also talked about was comic books. He's a huge comic book guy, and we would
Sure.
talk hours about this stuff while we're cleaning fish tanks, while we're helping customers, while we're bagging bird seed. Like, it was the best job I've ever had.
Yeah.
And then
And
you leave there and you go and you work all this other shit, and you're just like, man, I want to go back to that. You know,
Right.
I am so tired of this other stuff. So when you find out that you can do this for a living and you can make this, you know, your bread and butter, it doesn't have to take away from the love of what you have for it.
Right.
You just turn that love into money. And that's okay, because what that does is it helps you pay for more love, because you're gonna buy more anyway. So that's fine, you know.
Right.
But you know, ultimately, like it's that part that, like, no matter what I did, I worked in veterinary medicine for like 15 years. I did a bunch of different things, but nothing was better than just cleaning snake shit. Like, I don't know why that, like, just handling these animals, chilling with, you know, whatever it is about snakes and geckos and monitors and so on.
Yeah.
Just working with these animals, it's always been something that I've always wanted to do. But on top of that, it's, as you could tell, talking about them, but it's also answering questions. Because one of the things
Sure.
that I hated was I would go to reptile shows and I would show up, and I was young, 18, 19, whatever years old, and I'd get ignored. Nobody would talk to me. You know, you go to a table, they're just sitting there like this behind the table. They barely look at you. They don't, you know, you didn't get much, especially a young person. And I was like, you know, if I ever grow up and do this, I'm never doing that.
Yeah.
So when you come,
Completely
if you're
different.
ever at a show, yeah, absolutely. You cannot, like, for me, how can I buy an animal? I don't know what to do with it. You're not even going to tell me how to take care of this thing. Or, you know, if I am interested in breeding, like, you're not going to answer any questions, you know?
Yeah.
And I understand there was a lot of gatekeeping back then because nobody talked about it. And if they figured it out, they didn't want anybody to find out, you know? So I make it a point to over give information. Like, you want to know something, I will give you as much information. And if it's something I don't know, we're going to find out together, because now I need to know.
Yeah.
So if you're ever at a show that I'm at, you can come over and talk to me. You don't have to buy anything. Answers, I don't charge for answers. Like, just talk. That's how we grow. The more we talk to people, the more we make people comfortable, the more they want to do this, the more they want to stick around.
And it feels like that mentality was kind of just forced out, really. I mean, when the ability to communicate through internet, through, you know, a reasonably quick response, see pictures and converse with people became an option, where it wasn't prior to that. You either picked up a reptile magazine or you know, you had to meet the person face to face. Well, you could gatekeep in that scenario. Now someone else is more than willing to do it, so it pushes those guys out to a degree.
And I've seen a lot of guys that were like that. They're not around anymore.
Exactly. And it just kind of weeds them out. If you aren't willing to take that step and be helpful and be a kind human being, someone will. And they're going to gladly take your spot, you know?
Absolutely.
So just kind of a natural progression, it feels like. And I'm glad to see that. Like, when we got interested and we got in, I don't think we've ever approached anyone that's been anything but helpful, informative, nice. I mean, downright in your business, like, well, what else can I do to help you do better at this? You know what I mean?
Customer service is key. Customer service is key. I worked in so many different, I've done so many different things, and every single thing that I've ever done, even if it had nothing to do with a retailer, wholesale, whatever, you're still dealing with people, and you should still be as, you know, upfront about things as possible. If they have questions, you got to answer. You know, it's best to answer the questions. You know,
Sure.
and working in certain avenues in retail or veterinary medicine. Like you work at veterinary medicine, people have a lot of questions. The
Mm-hmm.
doctor can't answer them, even the technicians and so on. And this person, some people can't answer, and you do the best you can to help people because it's a tough situation. And I worked in emergency. They kicked the door open at 3:00 in the morning with a dog who just got hit by a car. In a matter of minutes, you need to trust me. In a matter of minutes, you need to trust me to take this animal to a treatment area that you cannot go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we have to
And
talk about what's going on.
that really pushes you into that whole, working with people too. I mean, now you've gone from just somebody interested in a snake to now you got somebody who's distraught. Like you said, they came in their worst possible state of mind, and you have to learn how to deal with them and help
Absolutely.
them.
And working in the pet shop and then working in veterinary medicine, especially emergency, like they're very different. And I also worked in general practice too, just vaccines and things like that. That's fine too. But when you look at how, for me, that's why I like the pet shop type of thing better, because when you look at how a pet shop is, people coming in the pet shop, you recognize them. You see them every week. Like, hey, you need those feeders. I already got them ready for you. Yeah, I know this guy comes in. I saw him outside. Oh, I know he's coming in. I'm gonna get his feeders. I'm gonna get his dog food. Like, that's customer service. Obviously, if I'm busy, I can't do it. Then I can't do it right now. But if I have a moment
Yeah.
available and I see you coming through the door, what's the point of me waiting for you to come here for me to go get something I already know you want? So let me just go get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's part of customer service. And even with when I do shows, if someone orders something prior, I see you coming up, I'm pulling it out. Hey, we go. Like, let's do the thing. And even if I'm talking to somebody, we're going to continue talking, acknowledging everybody, I'll be right there. You have to, be able to kind of manage a crowd. If you have a crowd at your table, it's really good to have other people with you. I usually have my friend Tucker. He's Purple Rain Reptiles. He does mostly like
Sure.
chondros and a couple of
Chondros,
ball
yep.
pythons and stuff. Great guy, does the shows. He's become my wingman. He's amazing. And at the last show, we kind of tabled up right next to Irresistibles. So we
Yeah.
had them here. We were here, back and forth, back and forth. We're both selling ball pythons. I'm not, you would think that there's that like,
It's not
that
a
like
competition.
rivalry.
It's more like you're helping
It's
each
not.
other out, and right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, I don't have that, but you know what? Tucker does. Just a couple
Yeah.
feet
Absolutely.
over. Go check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. I can't sell something I don't have, and I'm not going to downplay and try to say like you need what I have and not what they have. That's not the point.
Right.
That's not the point, because that's not what you want. So why am I going to force you to get something you don't want?
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and it's now you talked about the veterinary side of it. Did that ever extend into the exotics, or was it your kind of run of the mill dogs, cats, that
For the
side of the
most part,
furries?
it was dogs and cats. I did work at a place that saw exotics. I don't think they were fully equipped to see exotics, but they did. I want to say they did their best. But while I was there, I got called into a lot of rooms because the doctors were like, "I don't know what the hell this is." Like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not every doctor. There was like 2 or 3 doctors that was really good, but there was a bunch of other ones. It was a big. I'm not going to drop names, but it was a big place, and they had multiple doctors. But not every doctor did it, but they were expected to. And sometimes I would be working with them, and it'd be a whole thing. There was a doctor on once. A bearded dragon came in. Its throat was all swollen. There was this whole thing going on, and she was like, "I don't know." She's like, "I don't even know how to open its mouth." So we were able to, and it had chunks of broccoli stuck in its throat.
Oh no!
So we just took some hemostats, went in, and just started pulling it
Grabbed
out.
them
And then
out.
as soon as one came out, it shook its head and everything. Carrots, broccoli, everything came flying out.
Yeah.
And then, then I had to go over and talk to the person about what happened, because the chunks were massive. Also, what are you feeding? They were just feeding
Right.
like a frozen bag of vegetables. Like, it was just random vegetables. They didn't even know what they were feeding. So
I mean, it's not funny. It's just when you're told
it was
funny.
at the time. I'm not gonna lie, because that shit went everywhere. It was like spit and like it was all over. But he was fine. He did great. We were able to get it out. We didn't have to give him any meds or anything. He was all right.
Sure. But it's a rarity to see that side of it, like the extension into the exotics. It's pretty. We don't have anything in this area. We could go to somebody with maybe something very local, like a snapping turtle, and they might be just familiar enough with it
Mhm.
to assist. But you start getting into some really odd stuff, like a Doomerals or a Honduran or something. They're not going to have the foggiest what that
And
husbandry
and
even is.
and to be honest with you, it's not. I don't blame them. Reptiles are very
Sure.
different. It's a very different thing. When you look at what veterinarians are doing, they're doing the equivalent of what 3 or 4 human doctors are doing.
Yeah.
So, and that's just like your regular vet. Then you look at specialty. Like I worked in a specialty place where we had neurology, ophthalmology. We had a bunch of oncology doctors, behaviorists. Like this is a full place full of all different types of um, specialties and services. And you'd be surprised. Like it's crazy the amount of
Yeah.
schooling these doctors go through and the continuing education that they go through because they have to stay current with this new thing that came out for dogs, this new thing that came out for cats that's possibly harmful to dogs. Don't mix them up. There's all that craziness that can happen.
Yeah.
Right. And probably a much more accessible field to stay on the furry side, the more common house pet,
Yeah.
and not get into that odd branch. But it seems to me there should be more around. I feel like there should, and they're hard to find. I mean,
Well,
I think
a good one.
I think it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of it under their belt. But then again, I don't know how things are now. Maybe it's different now in school. Maybe they feel the need because they're like, oh, there really are a lot more exotics. Maybe we need to push this more. Maybe the doctors have said something like, yo, a lot of people are coming in with exotics. I think we need more exotic courses. Even just something basic, something as basic as the right antibiotics for specific reptiles, because an antibiotic for a ball python is not the same antibiotic you're going to give to a turtle. Like
Right.
that's all,
Right.
it's very different. You're going to have different
Worlds
results.
apart. Yeah.
I know for us, the closest one is what is it? It's close to an hour, and basically what it is it's the zoo, the big zoo here. It's their
Mhm.
kind of off-site veterinary, and that's the only
Right.
place you can go with any kind of reptile for us anyway. But it
Yeah.
It's
makes it
always been
tough.
tough.
Makes it tough.
I
Yeah.
had to drive out when I was younger. I had a snake, and I had to go to a special vet all the way out in Long Island somewhere. He was great though, and but that was it. I had to like travel to this guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So, okay, we got some of that background. Now, you started with this wide array of stuff. I mean, you talked about this family and this pet shop you got into. You got to see all this stuff. What drew your attention first? What was like the first thing you had to have? Was it ball pythons or was it some other species or?
It was a ball python. Like
Okay.
I really dug them. It and like they were they were inexpensive enough and didn't get so huge. And at the
Yeah.
time, I was still living at home because I got the job when
Sure.
I was like 17, and I was still living at home. And I was like, I'm gonna sneak this thing in the house. I'm gonna figure this out. And then I didn't bother. I just brought the tank. I just did it. I had a 20-gallon tank and the whole nine. And my mom at first was like, I don't know. And then after a while, she could care less. She could
Sure.
care less. She didn't even care.
Yeah.
She didn't even
Yeah.
care. And then I got the children's pythons, and she didn't even know. She was like, "Did I see another? Do you have another cage in there?" I'm like, yeah, they're little." She's like, "What is?" Then now she's like, "Well, what are they?" Now she's like, "Oh, she didn't want to handle anything, but she was like, "Oh, that's cool. Okay, they're really small. Okay," and then she left. Like she didn't care.
Sure. So, how does this timeline look? I mean, you talk about going from this young age, and this is all over New York, Brooklyn area,
Mm-hmm.
that side of the country, and we know you're not there now. You're out in the Pacific Northwest. So,
Mm-hmm.
was there a gap in this? Did you take some time out of this in the center, or did all of this kind of move along with you the whole way?
I probably stayed in until I was doing some stuff, probably up until 2002, 2003. And then I got
Okay.
out for a while because that's when I moved to Florida. I did a bunch of stuff. And then I kind of didn't really get back into it until like 2010. And I was just very small because I was working like 2 jobs, and New York is very expensive. So I had 2 jobs. I'm trying to have a social life. I was single at the time. And, I'm 20 something years old in New York. I'm not staying home every day. I'm going to go out. So I had a
Right.
smaller collection of stuff. I didn't go too nuts, and I brought a few things here or there. Nothing crazy. I had at that time I was into fat tail geckos, so I had a bunch of like African fat tail geckos and
Okay.
some leopards, but a few hognose and ball pythons. I've always had ball pythons,
Sure.
and
Gotcha.
that's how I got back in. Was in 2010. My girlfriend, who is my wife now, we went to a show one day. She was like, "You want to go?" I was like, "Okay." Went to a show, and I came home with an orange ghost.
Oh, nice.
And this was in 2010, and I was like, "Oh, this thing is so cool! I like this thing." Um, I don't know, and I was like debating, like, should I get it? And she was like, "Just get it. You want it? It's fine. It's only one." One turned into a couple more, and I still have him.
No
And
kidding. Okay.
yeah, I still have him. He's moved with me everywhere I've gone.
Wow.
Nice.
He's the first snake that got me back in. And he is still here, and then I find out years later. I bred him back to one of his offspring because she was I got what was called a blonde pastel. At the time, there were different kinds of pastels, so I picked up something called a blonde pastel. They don't really brown out that much as they get older.
Okay.
I could show you pictures of her another time. Well, this is her daughter, who's a blonde pastel, but she's het orange ghost. I was like, okay, I'll make some pogs, some pastel orange ghosts. This would be cool. This was like 6 years ago, not even like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, all right, I'll breed her back to dad. Come to find out, not only is she het orange ghost, but he's been het genetic stripe this whole time.
Oh, okay.
So I popped out some genetic stripes, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a second, what's going on here?" So this whole time, I've had an orange ghost het genetic stripe male that I didn't even know about.
Sure, sure. And I know that there are a pile of those things still floating around.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
recessives we haven't even seen yet. 4 or 5 deep in collections because that's happening. It's going to another offspring. It's going to somewhere where those lines are getting bumped down. But eventually, something from somewhere else is going to come in, and those are
They
going to
sneak
pop
in.
out.
They sneak in, and then I also think about where if you see where that's coming from. So if you buy an animal from a specific breeder who has tons of different types of morphs and genes in and out of their collection, and they're buying from other people, also have tons of different genes in and out of, there's a good chance if you put two siblings together, you might pop out something that you didn't even know was in there.
Yep.
Exactly. That's the thing, is to get those linear things back to each other, because that's how it's going to happen. The odds of hitting one random out there are pretty slim, but you look at how far along, like, cryptic followed with clown before people went, oh Christ, this cryptic is all over the clown community. You know what I mean? And then you start seeing the kryptons, and it can hide in there a long time before that stuff
Yeah,
gets
and then
found.
there's other genes that just like they're either see for me like how many genes are out there now? I mean,
Oh God.
it's countless genes, and every other
Yeah.
day I keep hearing about another one, only to find out that it's the same as this other one. But there's
Right.
so many genes out there, and they do different things, and we're still mixing and matching. We're trying to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going back to genes that have been around for a long time, and
Yep.
we're messing with those. And I think that's part of how we progress. Is we have to stop thinking about certain genes as a dead end, or certain genes don't really do anything, because all of a sudden you mix that gene with something else. You're like, oh, wait a second, I didn't know that this could happen. When you look at special, a couple of years ago, people didn't give a shit about special, but now special is everywhere.
Oh, special's an
Special,
amazing gene too.
it's a great gene. It's a beautiful gene, and this leads me into when I talk about specific genes. I believe in line breeding, so to speak. You can get a bunch of genes, put them together, and you'll make something, and that's fine.
Stuff. Yeah.
But if you get the nicest of the nicest, and you keep doing that, now it doesn't have to mean that you're constantly breeding in your own. But if you see another one from another person, you're like, that's a really nice one. And if I add that to mine, that's where I like, because a lot of people are like, oh, what do we do once we're out of genes? And number one, I don't think we'll ever be out of genes. But I think what'll end up happening is people will start breeding for, for
For
quality,
quality,
which is
yeah,
what we should be doing now anyway.
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
Don't
Yep.
worry about the next combo or triple or quad. Don't worry about that, because
Yep.
you know that if you're producing a really nice version of this animal and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, that person's version costs this much, but yours, you should ask more because it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
Well, that's go look at Aussies and
hmm
Canova. I mean, that's what
look
they're
at Chris.
doing.
Look at Chris Hernan. I think that's how
Yeah.
you say his name.
yeah.
That guy's high ODs. I mean,
Insane. Yeah.
they're incredible. His
Yep.
prices are incredible, but
Yep.
but would you be you know so brokenhearted for spending 4 or 5 times the amount for one of his
No,
versus another one that's like, it's nice,
Right.
but
knowing that
it's
that's the cornerstone of what you produce from there out, you
hmm
have to buy that way. I don't see why you wouldn't buy that way. I mean, unless you're purely just trying to produce, maybe you need numbers to go to shows. Say maybe you're a
Yeah.
big vendor and you need variety to go to a show with. But if
Yep.
it's a project you really care about, you need that example as your cornerstone.
and
And
that's
if it's
how,
not,
like,
you building, right?
absolutely, because I often tell people you don't have to get everything, get what you like, and then work with that. And some people are like, but this isn't a big ticket gene, and I'm like, that's okay. Who
Yeah,
said you can't make it one?
Right.
Who
right.
said that you can't put the time and the effort in? Do your other projects that are making money here, but kind of have a bit of a passion project. They're like, I really like this gene. I think I see something in it. Everyone tells me not to work with it. I'm gonna do it anyway. And then you turn around and you're like, look, again, someone like Chris Hernan, who is like, those are incredible.
Hmm.
Those orange dreams are incredible. Ozzy, he used to get made fun of. They would tell him like, "Oh, what do you have all this dog
Yeah.
shit on your table for?" And he was,
Yeah.
but he stuck
Yep.
it out, and look where he is. And that, I feel like,
Yeah,
is how a lot of people. I've had people come to me at shows. When I first moved out here, and I did a couple of shows, I had a guy come up to my show who was another vendor, and he was like, "Oh, you'll never sell this." Like, that's what he said to me, and I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." Like, fuck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
meanwhile, he left, and 20 minutes later, it's sold. Then he comes back around, and like, he looks at me and he just walks away, and I'm like, well. And even if it didn't sell, it doesn't matter. The point is,
like
I'm gonna
yeah,
show up every show. I have 3 or 4 animals. When I first came out here, I didn't have much, but I still kept showing up. I did every show. I've been doing these shows out here since I moved out here.
Yeah.
sure.
It just keeps showing up, and you keep showing up, and you keep showing people, this is what I work with. This is what I work with. And every year you show them, look how nice it is versus last year. And you just keep at it, and you keep adding to your collection. Maybe you redo your collection. You get rid of half of the stuff, and you're like, you know what, this isn't working. That's okay. That's okay. It's not working. Move on. Or you're just like, I'm not really interested in this anymore. And that's
Right.
okay. It's okay. In order to grow and move forward a lot in this industry, you do need to kind of clean house sometimes.
Yep. Yep. Or at least trim and kind of prune.
Mhm.
You do kind of have to. It's a living organism, like a tree. I mean, you get a bad branch in there, you trim it, and you hope the rest of the tree is really pretty. You don't cut the tree off at the base. I mean, you keep adding it.
Absolutely.
That's what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's weird about that is you look at. We talked about quality examples and these people that go their own route and find out, well, mine looks so much better because it is actually different, like
Mm-hmm.
Barnhart Black Pastel.
Barn back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
absolutely.
everybody thought it was just he's got this great line. He's got the well, it is, but it's a good thing he kept it so tight and isolated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not mixed in with us now. Genetically, we know it's completely different, and that could very well happen in a lot of what gets passed around.
Oh
Might
yeah.
not be
And
genetically the same pastel at all. You
Right.
and
know,
that and there are genetic offshoots.
yeah,
You can have it. We have these animals. Again, we have like the yellow belly complex. A lot of them, they look like you put gravel next to an asphalt next to a yellow belly. Like, sometimes it's going to be really hard to tell.
hard to
But
tell. Yeah,
I've seen, and I have produced some incredible yellow bellies that people are like, oh, what's in that? And I'm like, nothing. It's just a yellow belly.
Right.
And those are the things you want to keep and work with. Unfortunately, I sold that one. But the
Yeah,
thing
we
is,
just
and we
did
have
that.
tons of buyer remorse, tons of buyer's remorse. But
Yes.
you do the best you can. But when it comes to like that part, think about the quality. When you're buying something, try not to just buy it unless you cannot find it anywhere else. And you're like, look, I'm gonna make this better. Like you can. It takes time, but you could do
Sure.
things. A lot of times, like I look at it this way: when a new gene hits the market, who buys it? It's $20,000. Who's buying that gene?
It's a breeder.
A breeder,
Only
big
breeder.
breeder.
Yeah.
So
Big breeder, yeah.
like I talk about Cypress, and like my friend, a couple friends of mine think I'm funny when I say this, but when I first saw the Cypress, I was like, "This is ugly. This is fucking dog shit. This thing is disgusting. It's gross. I'm not spending that much money on that." But I didn't have to because people that had amazing collections, it's okay. They can see the
The
potential in this
value
thing.
of it. Yeah, yeah.
But what happens when you take something that's a new gene, may not be super impressive? What are they going to do with it? They're not going to just put it with a normal female. They're going to put it to their really nice animals. So what are you going to get? The offspring are going to be nicer because that animal's nicer.
Really
And then
nice
you
stuff.
just keep doing it. So as you produce nicer animals and you hold back in your life, that's what Canova's doing. That's what Ozzy's doing. That's what everybody's doing.
Sure.
You're just leapfrogging back and forth. And what do single gene cypresses look now? Incredible. They're incredible.
Yeah.
And
that's just it. I mean, what they're going to propagate and what they're going to keep and push forward is the best example. And it can come from a bad example. So the variability, even in a clutch, like we had a yellow belly, lesser girl, we still have her. She's huge, lays a ton of eggs for us. But this yellow belly is insanely, I mean, the bottom half of the snake looks like, I don't even know what you want to call it, like an old school tile dance floor with the alternating yellow
all
and
the
black,
checkers, right? All the way through.
like
That's,
halfway up its belly. And I'm going,
yeah.
holy cats, this is crazy. Nothing else in it. So we're like, but the next one out of her, also yellow belly, not so great. Do you know what I mean? So the variability in her offspring, even just from her and what you push forward, is wild.
Yeah.
How different
It is crazy. Like I a few years ago, probably like 3 years ago, I got in touch with VPI.
Sure.
And because I was curious about like I was interested in black pastel, so um, I shot a message out to Tracy Barker, and we exchanged a few messages back and forth. Because black pastel originated from them, and if I was going to buy it, I was going to buy it from where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked back and forth a little bit, and I was asking her, and it's recessive, and I said, how come some are really black, some are kind of black, and then some are like more on the silvery side, or
Oh, you
dark,
mean black exanthic?
yes, black exanthic. I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exanthic.
okay. I'm like, all
Sorry
right,
about that.
gotcha.
Black exanthic.
No, you're
So
good.
when I talked to her, she said something that, and I'm going to try to phrase it the way she did. She said something that I found so interesting, and every clutch I have, I look at it in this way every time. She was basically saying, like, think about it when you're putting two codoms together or incomplete dominants together. 1 out of 4 is going to be a super, 2 are going to be the incomplete dominant, and 1's going to be normal. So one's always going to look a lot nicer than the other 4. 2 are going to look, pretty much your basic look, and then 1's going to be all right. Is that something that always happens? No. But for some reason, and if you looked at your clutches and you look and you'll have 3 of the same animal, 1 just looks so much nicer than the other 2. Or 2 look really nice and 1 doesn't. And again, we talked about it, and it's not a guarantee, it's not a science about it or anything like that. She's just said, in my experience, this is just what I've noticed. And then, mind you, this woman's been doing it for probably 40 years.
Well,
And
sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, and this is, and she's bred, they bred balls, carpets, blood pythons, reticulated python. So like, she has so much experience.
So you had said earlier that you think there's going to be that the end to the genes. The genes are endless. We're going to keep discovering more and more of them, right? And I would agree with that. I think that's true. How many, just on a percentage, let's say in the next 10 years we discover 100 more genes, okay? What percentage of those are going to be heterozygous and which are going to be dominant?
Hmm.
I mean, what would you say would be the breakdown, right? So if you look at that and we just say,
Yeah.
okay, let's just say it's 50-50. So if any of those genes are in that pairing and they happen to be in, this offspring, but not this offspring, and they have maybe it's one's an enhancer, one kind of fades things out. I mean, you have all of that could be happening and playing on these visuals that you're seeing and wondering why one looks great, one looks kind of mediocre. And I
Yeah, like
honestly, I believe that's what is doing that. When
Hmm.
it's
to
all in
some
the same
degree.
clutch. Yeah, yeah,
And Chris touched on that a moment ago. I think Jamie popped it up. It's the polygenic side of things is like
Hmm.
how many other genes does that
yeah.
one gene bring with it? Like, does that
Hmm.
come in a cluster of 6 genes, almost like a pack of genes that travels together because they're so closely related? We just haven't located those. You know what I mean?
You can
Yep.
look at
Um,
a clutch of albinos, and you'll find one or two in there that are really, really nice, and some are a little bit more on the lighter side. And which one am I going to keep? The nicer one,
Yeah.
and
right.
that's what I feel like we're we should be going, and I think a lot of people are doing that now. We keep the nicest ones and so on, if that's something that we want to continue to do. um
Yeah.
and again, that's why I say, when you get into this, find a couple genes that you really like and make those. They don't have to be in every single thing you do, but make those some of like your major projects and continue working with them, because after a couple of years you will see that particular gene, that other gene, like they're a lot nicer, and people will start noticing, and they'll say, "Hey, these are really nice. What else is in here?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Nothing. It's just this and this. That's all
Yeah.
that it is."
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's hard. There's a lot of genes out there, and what's happening is we're looking at the industry as there's this popularity contest, and if it's not popular, don't buy it. Nobody wants it, and that's it's unfortunate. I think about it unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are just shunning that now. And they're like, you know what? I really like this, and I'm going to make the nicest ones of these that I possibly can, or I'm just going to keep working with it. Whatever. I like it. I don't really give a shit. It's cool. I like it. And that's okay. That's okay.
And I do think both sides of that are completely viable too. To ride that line of things that are looked for, or people are in search of, like they want
Hmm.
clown or they want pied. It's fine to do that, but take that a direction that you haven't seen, right? Or
Right.
to that other gene that you really enjoy, take it to that gene, and now you've got this, in your case, maybe pied vanillas, right? Or however you go about that. Like, focus on taking something that is going to
Absolutely.
be marketable, but go your own route with it. Don't make the same combos over
Because
and
you can see Canova, and let's say the Batman was the thing that you can't get out of your head. Then go get one
Yeah.
or make
over.
one. Like, if that's what you really like, go ahead. And if that is what you like, then say, you know what, I really like Batman. What can I add? What hasn't been added? What hasn't been done?
Right.
What have I seen only done once and I've never seen it again? And then the you can just take that Batman, and that could be a backbone, and then you branch off. For me, I didn't get into vanilla. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go get some vanilla. I can't. Oh my god, these are the most amazing. That's not how it was for me. And
Right.
I'm really stubborn. And I have this bad habit of not doing shit everybody else does. I have one. I have only one clown in my collection. One.
Wow.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like,
That
"What is wrong
is
with you? Like,
that's
that's
bucking the
impressive."
system right there.
I and it's and the funny thing is clown, ever since, again, as far back as I can remember, was one of my favorite genes, and I could never you never found them back in the day. Like, they were very hard to find. You know, David and Tracy Barker, in a book, I have it. They have a picture of a clown, and it says, "This is a clown ball. We call this a clown ball python. We don't think it's genetic." it says it in the book. They didn't even believe it to be genetic, and they considered it a genetic stripe because clowns have, you know, a regular clown will have a continuous stripe on the back. So they considered that another genetic stripe because genetic stripes already existed at that time. Genetic stripes and albinos came out at the same time. They came out at the same time.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
genetic stripes have been around. They're one of the OG ones. They weren't very popular, you know. I believe genetic stripe, orange ghost, albino, pied, like those guys are roughly around the same time. And you have. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost track. I was thinking about. I was talking about.
Okay.
I was trying to think of history now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't start out going after vanilla. It was just something that just happened. I saw an Orange Dream Vanilla Cream on Morphmarket, and I couldn't get this thing out of my head. Could not get this thing out of my head, and I bought it. I just bought it. I had other snakes I was working with, but I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's really cool, and knew nothing about vanilla. I knew about fire because remember the first firefly I saw, I was like, that is the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. It was incredible. And it wasn't even for sale, the one I saw at the time. This was so many years ago. It was just in a display, and you know, they just wanted to show you what it looked like. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I got, you know, I started looking into the history, where it started, where it came from, and I came across like vanillas, and I was like, oh, there's a super form of vanilla, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I was like, how come I never see these anywhere? You know, and I was looking for super vanillas, and I was like, there are like none available. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to make some, and I found I still have her too, pastel vanilla Spectre.
Oh, nice.
And she was an adult, so I was gonna get babies that year. So I put them together, and I got super vanillas, and I got vanilla creams and orange dreams, and you know, a whole mix of stuff. I was like, yo, this is cool. All right, vanilla cream, you're really cool. But super vanilla, like, where? And I got into that thing of like, this is one of those genes nobody's doing shit with. I don't know why. I'm going to do some stuff with it. And it wasn't a backbone. It really isn't. I wouldn't even call it a backbone. It's just in all of my shit now. It's everywhere. Vanilla is just in everything. It doesn't
But what a
hurt
great
anything.
thing to have in everything. I mean, it's a phenomenal gene. And I think people are starting to realize that. That's like getting to be the, I don't want to say the underdog, but the hot old gene coming back scenario. A lot like disco. Disco's kind of doing the same thing right now.
This is the same thing. And you have these genes that have been sitting around and nobody's really doing anything with it. And that's when I look at, again, line breeding. Because if you look at a vanilla, you're like, it's vanilla. It looks kind of normal. I don't really see much of a difference. But when you look at, you know, a fire, you're like, oh, that's a little different. I can kind of tell a fire. They're a little lighter, you know. But when you have them both in a clutch, you have half fire, half vanilla, you can't tell the difference. Except now I've been doing it for so long, I can tell the difference, you know.
Sure.
So you're kind of talking me into this, Angel.
Long
time back, I wanted candy, and I looked at a couple. I looked at a Candino I really wanted, and it just never panned out, and I just kind of let it go. And we don't have any, right? We don't have any candy. No,
we have one het candy now, but that's it.
Yeah. Candy's great. Honestly, I was looking at Enchi candies because Enchi and albino, Enchi and candy are just, and toffee. Like, I mean, candy and toffee are the same now. I think we've established that.
Yep.
But it's what Enchi does in that albino kind of realm is complex. It's incredible.
Super pretty. Yeah.
Enchi is an amazing gene. I have a few Enchis now. So I have a super Enchi, and I that's another one. Yeah, it's everywhere. But like, who's really working Enchi though? Like, I mean, it's such. If somebody said today, I'm gonna buy only Enchi and just do Enchi shit, they're gonna do great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, I look at the effect it has in things, so it's hard to see another gene that can so widely go against recessives and do so well. Like I know it's getting not as sought after, but like Enchi clowns look fantastic to me. Anything you do with Enchi
pies, it adds that pattern to the pie. So it allows you a greater canvas because now you know what gene adds pattern. Orange Dream adds a bit of pattern. Pinstripe pieds. Pinstripe adds a ton of pattern to pied. You know,
And
it
we
also
have
gives it
gotten
an
none
orange color. I don't
in
have any pinstripe
multiple
either. I don't have it
attempts.
either.
Multiple attempts. I mean, we have pin pieds because I always
Yeah.
loved pin pieds, but can't make them. We just have zero luck hitting that for some reason.
It's weird because you'll hit all this other stuff you're not trying to get, or you'll get a bunch of the one year and nothing the other year. It's
Yeah.
always a crapshoot. It's always a crapshoot. But that's part of this too. If I knew what I was making every year, I think I'd be a little bored. But
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I don't know, and it's kind of the fun part too, you know. But again, when you really find those genes that you like, don't listen to so much. Just stop and think, what can I do with this? Where does this work best? What haven't I seen it in? You know, there's all these different avenues you can take your hobby. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to have a $20,000 animal. You can probably make them if you work on it and try to make something that no one else has made.
Fully agree with that viewpoint. I think that's getting to be more commonplace now. I think that exact sentiment that you're putting out there right now, people are starting to realize that, yeah, if you truly work projects, you take the best examples, you take your best outcomes, and you work
Mhm.
with that, you're going to have good results, almost regardless of what you're working with.
So, like,
Um,
I brought a couple examples. I don't know if anybody wants to look at snakes today, but
Oh yeah.
absolutely. Let me shift
so
over, though, real quick.
for me,
I'll do
like,
it.
again, we all know what vanillas look like. We all know how like very close to a normal. You know, they can really look. Um, so I've been working with vanilla for, I don't know, 6 years now or so, and this is
Mm-hmm.
what my regular vanillas look like.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah,
This
that's
is,
immediately obvious where a lot of
Yeah.
vanilla you see is not. That's
Right.
let's see.
immediately
Let me get
obvious.
his. I'm trying to get his head out because they do have a bit of a head stamp.
Yeah, you can kind of
There
see
you
the little
go. Yep.
Triforce
So you
symbol
can
there.
Yep.
kind
Yeah.
of see they have, some people call it like a Mickey head or a paw print, or so you
Yeah.
can kind of see.
Like a little Triforce.
And with vanilla, where um, with fire, you get connecting saddles along the back. With vanilla, you get boxes. That's how you can tell. You get more of a
Okay.
boxy kind of a pattern. You can,
Squares out the alien heads a
yeah,
little.
you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
get more of these square alien heads instead of more of an elongated pattern. Whereas to the end part of a fire, you're going to have a lot of connecting saddles, and
Right.
Yeah, dragging out.
it's going to be lighter. But I find vanillas to be brighter, especially with dorsal. You'll see the top parts tend to be a bit brighter on these
Okay.
than
Gotcha.
than your average. Not much on the belly. You don't really get a belly pattern with these guys, but
So
that's
it's
that's
kind of a
that's a vanilla.
similar reaction to like Red Stripe kind of tends to do some of that. Boxes out the alien heads.
It does, yes, it does. And I'm trying to get I'm trying to learn some red stripe stuff too. I would like to work with that, but I don't know. I don't know what I want to do yet. Like, I like working with different things. Um, so again, it does have a super form, and this is the super form here. This guy's het clown though, so it does. We all know that the het clown can change a little bit, but this is
Brighten them up a little, yeah.
it's a super vanilla. So you're gonna see the first thing you're gonna notice is that completely washed out head.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people like head pattern. I think head pattern is awesome too, but sometimes something a little wacky like this, something a little different, can be
It's
fun.
still kind of there though, you still do get a little bit of a stamp there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And then you see the body, then the body
Starts
pattern.
to connect to the dorsal, brings those up and connects them.
They get nice and bright along the top. That's why vanilla works really good with like super stripe. That makes that
Mm-hmm.
center dorsal stripe really bright. I have a couple there in the shed right now. I was going to put them out, but you can see very different. Not your typical kind of a look. You'll get a
Yeah.
lot of connections on the top.
Yeah, not what you would call banding. It's almost like the alien heads
No.
are bleeding into the dorsal a little bit.
And then you take the super vanilla, and then you just put put a dose of Orange Dream, and what ends up happening is you get a lot of, it just cleans it right up.
Yeah, I like that.
Everything just gets cleaner. You can see you get these orangey kind of like blotches that come through.
And the dorsal still just shiny. I mean, it just
Yeah.
pops, right?
And this one's not het for clown. This one is just, but you can see again, and then
Yeah.
the Orange Dream will kind of give it a bit of a darker look too, and clean it up at the same time.
So it's kind of pulling your towers up off the belly too a little. I see that going
Yeah,
on.
it kind of goes
Which
up like
is
that, and Orange Dream gives striping and kind of will give you kind of a false het pied look.
Yeah.
sure,
The
yeah, at
pied
times.
marker kind of.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with these cameras.
Oh, you're
No, it looks great actually.
nice
Your
and
camera's
clear.
doing
Yeah.
a nice job.
And then if you take a super vanilla and you put it with a super orange dream, or you get a super orange dream and a super vanilla right here.
Oh man, is that thing clean?
That thing's really clean.
So this is a super vanilla, super orange dream.
Wow.
God, that
Again,
thing almost looks DG. It's so clean.
How
I
much
know.
for shipping?
I just talk to me later. For you, don't worry about it. So they like I was making, I made a joke at the last show and I was like, hey, you like my DGs? And someone was like, oh, they're nice. I was like, that's not a DG.
Yeah, it does. It
Right.
almost looks DG.
It does, yeah.
So again,
So
you get the typical head, kind of head washout there.
Yeah. Yep. But God, it's like right down the middle of the head, just a patch though. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It kind of got me. I don't know why. I started like really liking them, and then you get these big blotches of orange that come through.
Yeah. Really nice flaming and stuff. Yeah.
And you get a really super clean belly.
Bliker says he wants Enchi and Hypo in there. There you go, Enchi again.
See what I could do. I'll see what I could do.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, let's see what I got here. Then again, I like orange. I like vanilla creams. So this guy here, this is a vanilla cream.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
This
those
is a vanilla
things.
cream, orange dream, and he's het for clown.
That is a beautiful animal.
You can see how orange dream and vanilla cream just work. Orange dream and super vanillas, just like the fire family and the orange dream family working together. It works.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Super
animal
bright.
is just incredible.
What is that, like 1,200, 1,300 grams? Somewhere in there?
No, there's a baby. He's probably like 350.
Oh, he's
a
little.
tiny guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
there you
little
can
guy.
see in the hand.
But
yeah, when you see it in your
I was
palm,
like-
it's different. But
you see,
Yeah, when you
almost
stretched
get
out,
like
I'm like, man.
I know, because I'm doing that thing that they do.
Look
at this big
the
fish.
Bass. Look at this fish I
Yeah.
got.
But you can see like dorsally, like you do get like an odd stripe, but it's bright.
yeah. God, I just love how those just break out into their own little individual continents. You know, it's like that pattern is doing something completely different.
It's really
You
cool.
can't recognize where alien heads and things were.
And if you haven't seen them, the Super Vanilla and Vanilla Cream clowns they're just incredible. I missed this year. I missed last year, so I'm trying again this year, trying to get a Super Vanilla clown. And I really like just, a lot of different things, but one of my favorite things is pied. Like I love pied. And last year
Now you're
I
talking
made
Jamie's language.
Yep,
Last
she's gonna
year-
pop on here in a minute.
There you go. And last year I made vanilla pied last year, but I also made a super vanilla pied.
Nice.
Oh, there's that same head.
Still same head.
Really
Yeah,
like
that's
that head.
cool, man.
So you'll still get the rub on the head, but the back part you get
Mm-hmm.
kind of this elongated pattern. It's hard to pick up, but it's got orange in it. It's really hard to see, but it's really
Now,
orange.
is that an anomaly, Angel, where they keep that center stripe down the saddle, or is that pretty common in the vanilla?
Don't know.
Okay.
I've never seen it like too many others. Sometimes
Because
they'll have more pattern. She has like just a head part, and I could care less. Like she's just all milk white all the way.
Wow. Yeah, she is.
yes, still pretty. I'm just curious on that saddle patterning because that's so rare and pied. Usually that breaks up into what we always see, the emojis and the oddball shapes in there. It's so
Yeah,
rare to keep that center stripe.
it's just again, I love pies. I have a few of them. Everybody felt like being in shed today, so she shed like 2 days ago, so she's perfect. And she's this black mark's been getting bigger, so I don't know what's gonna happen there
Huh.
because it was just one scale, and then
Yeah.
it's every time she sheds, it looks like it's getting bigger. And I thought she had another one on her somewhere, but oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
she
actually
has
Weird.
thought
two
I
of them.
saw one. Yeah.
She's got two. She's got one
Huh.
there, one there.
Weird little paradox almost
Yeah, so
popping.
they're pop like every time she sheds, it's almost like another scale turns black. Um, so yeah, I love me some vanilla. There's no, it's kind of that's my passion project. I love vanilla. I want to try to show more people what it can do, and I want to try to do more things with it. You know,
That's beautiful stuff. I mean, I can see the interest and I do think what you're showing are extremely nice examples compared to, the vanilla I've looked at. So I can understand why 100%.
and
Uh,
it's simple. If you have a vanilla in your collection, it's just gonna clean it up. It's just gonna brighten it up. And it's not gonna change anything if you accidentally put it in something. It's also if you accidentally put two together and you make a super vanilla, oh big deal. Like they're amazing. They're not going to change your animal too much or your outcome too much. Um,
but
I
I
do
love that it
think
has a super that isn't just white or, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
absolutely, and
Yep.
that's the other thing about it. Why when I was looking at fire or vanilla when I was starting to work with them, I was like, well, fire is really cool, and I really like fire, but I feel like because I love super fires, I have a bunch of super fires too. I have adult females that I have that I breed. I just kept them. I thought they were cool.
Right.
I don't know what's cooler than a stark white snake with black eyes and red pupils. Like that's just cool.
Right.
Like so,
Now,
I have a couple
did
of
you
those.
get some of that weird yellow dorsal stuff that we see in some of the super fires? Did you get any of that going on?
I did. The odd part is, um, they're very light. It's a very light orange blotches that they ended up getting, and only a couple on each one. But they are
Okay.
also possible Orange Dream. I haven't proved it out yet. I think one is definitely. I think she did prove out Orange Dream, but they're also 50% possible Orange Ghost. So
Oh,
if they are head Orange Ghost, it could also possibly make those things a little lighter as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
sure.
hoping to find out if they are head
Sure.
Orange Ghost soon enough.
Well, and if you ever need fire in something, those supers are nice to have. It's guaranteed,
Hmm.
you know.
So
Yeah.
I've over the years I've kept back a lot of. I decided to keep back a lot of supers that whether they have something extra or not, because if I want, like I have a few super vanilla females, and if I want to plug something in, then I just have a super vanilla. Boom, there you go. So if I were to buy, let's say I bought a monsoon, and then just put that monsoon to the super vanilla, and I've got vanillas that are all het monsoon.
Yep. Guaranteed results. And we're
Hmm.
finding that out more and more on our side too. We're doing that in a way that's stacked opposite each other. It took us a while. Some of those things don't it should be common sense, but it doesn't strike you until you really get into thinking through your pairings down the road. Like
Hmm.
how badly you have to stack male versus female and which side you stack heavy on what is super critical because
Oh
you
yeah.
can spend
It
four
is,
times the amount of time.
Yep.
and
It can
you
drive
have a whole. Go ahead.
it can drive you another direction just because you don't have any other choice now because you didn't make the right choice
I
earlier.
I
So
Right.
mean,
Yep.
there are times that people have invested in certain genes, raised them up, only to realize that they don't breed, or they females become egg bound, or the original desert gene. It's an old gene found by Ralph
Right. Right.
Davis, and Ralph Davis bred them. People bought them, and it turned out that the females egg bound.
yeah.
Yep.
It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous gene. Can't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. unfortunate deal. And I mean, there's a lot of history on that, how it got passed around and
Hmm.
wasn't talked about early enough, you know. But anyway, yeah, that aside, I guess. What does your collection look like now? What is your current game plan numbers? Do you do vending
Um,
multiple times a year, locally only?
I do. I vend out here in Washington, and I vend down in Oregon, and
Okay.
that's where Tucker is. And so when I go down there, I get to hang out with him and his family. He's a wonderful family. I love his family. They're great. His son Winter, we play video games. I bring my Switch and we play games and stuff. So
Nice. Nice.
it's a great week. It's a great weekend. Great people. And that show is really good. It happens. I think that's twice a year. And then the ones out here, like the one that I do, it's a Puyallup one. That's twice a year. So I do
Okay.
about four. Sometimes I'll throw an extra one in there, depending on what's going on. So I do about 4 shows a year, and I don't know. I love it. I love doing shows.
Yeah.
I love doing shows. I've done shows with like 3 animals. I had nothing. I just brought 3 animals, just because
Yeah.
because I didn't want
I,
to lose my spot.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think you like the interaction, right? I can kind of
I
see
do.
that with you. Yeah. Yep.
I do. It's like when I was at the shop. Somebody comes in and you talk shit, and it's like, hey, how's your mom? Like, I haven't seen her in here in a while. Like, just things like that. I miss the neighborhood feel, and when I do shows, it's sort of a neighborhood feel to me because I see a lot of the same people. They'll come by, or they'll bring their friends, or you meet somebody new, and I get lots and lots of kids, lots of kids. Don't ignore the kids. Don't ignore the
No,
kids.
no.
No,
Definitely talk to them. They know a lot more than their parents do. It's great.
They do.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's
sometimes.
great.
Yeah.
And once you get them open, like they'll talk to you. Like a lot of kids are a little shy, but once you get them going, like they're great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they'll run with that.
Hmm.
Yeah, give it to them. But so okay, you do the four locals. You do the Puyallup
Hmm.
twice, right? And then you do the
Hmm.
Oregon twice as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you go outside of that group ever, or have you ever? And what was that like?
I haven't gone outside of that group other than the White Plains show that I used to do back in New York when I lived there. That was the only other
Okay.
show that I did. Um, and it was outside of, and then there was like a Long Island show out there that I did for a little while too.
Okay.
And that's kind of like where I'd say I cut my teeth. Was out in those
Yeah.
places because you know that was something I had to learn. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Wherever you vend, it's gonna be different. So in New York, people walk up to your table, they say, "I want this. Here's some money," and they're gone. Like
Yeah.
that's it. They'll haggle
Yeah.
you, and that's another thing I love. Just haggle with me. I love a good haggle. You give me a good haggle, I give you a good price. And at shows,
To a point, right?
haggle,
Not to an
haggle. Yeah, to
insult,
a
but
point. No. But
yeah.
that's the thing though. Like you give me a low ball, I give you a nice joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I tend to like try to do that with people, and out there, let's do it's on. It's haggle time. Like boom, let's do it. Here, I try to encourage it, and people are like, oh, and I'm like, give me a number. Go
Yeah.
ahead. And it's just like 300. Like okay, $100. I'm like, that's the wrong number. Let's go.
Try
Let's try
again.
again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I get a good haggle out of people. Like some of the shows, they're like, oh, you could put a discount or you can have a VIP, and that's fine, that's good. But that kills the haggle for me. I like haggling with people.
Yeah.
Because if you're haggling, it really shows me you want this. Like, and if you want it, then I really want you to have it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, either side of that doesn't look great. If they just give in and give you the money, then you're like, well,
Eh.
and then the other side, it's like, dude, get out of here. You're not being
Mm-hmm.
real. I
Yeah.
got you. That'd be a lot of fun, actually. So, do you travel to the other shows? Do you go as just a guest to see this stuff? Do you like head
I
down the
haven't gone.
coast to like Pomona or
Uh,
somewhere?
Not yet. I haven't done a lot. I mean, COVID kind of like squashed a lot of stuff, that we were doing.
Oh, sure.
And during that as well, I had my son. He's only 6.5, so during the majority of COVID, you know, we all know how it was, and I wasn't going to be traveling with like a 3-year-old. It
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
gotcha.
so. Even though he was amazing, he even to now, like he'll put a mask on. He doesn't bother him at all. He doesn't care. But it did change a lot. COVID was whatever. We're not going to go down that route, but it definitely changed a lot of plans that I had. I did want to go to Pomona. I did want to do a bunch of things, but things changed. My wife's job had changed, and then at that same time, uh, like right before COVID started, I had an appendectomy. My appendix was trying to kill me,
Oh,
so I
Oh
had an
no.
appendectomy. Yeah, it was rough. And then after I fully recovered, then it was COVID, and it was like,
yeah.
go like I
Frying
feel
pan.
better. And
Yeah.
I was in New York in 2019. I went to New York to hang out, and then flew back in October, and ended up, it was like a month later, then everything kind of shut down. So
Right. Go from beat up to sitting around. It's like no in between
yeah.
there. Yeah.
So, but honestly, now going back to shows and doing shows again, and so on, it's definitely helped me because I love the interaction.
Yeah. And that's why I was curious. You seem to be that type of personality that would love the Tinley, the Daytona, the Pomona, all these big national, shows
I do.
that.
If I could ever get a table out there, I'll definitely do it. It's just like I love talking to people. I just love talking about this stuff. I've been doing it for so long, and answering questions.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to me to make sure that you have the right information, because there's so much misinformation. There's so much uh, kind of made up. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard so many things throughout the years, and I'm like, you don't really want to do that. Why? That's what they do. And I'm like, well, they're not going to be doing too good in a couple of years. So
Right.
I'm trying to help you avoid that part.
Yeah.
I don't ever tell people to do anything my way. I just tell them how I do it, and you manicure it however you feel works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
that's the other thing for us. I mean, we have no, yeah, like
Thanks.
Vance's try to lowball me like trying to
Uh,
squeeze a fart out of a mosquito's ass. It's not happening. But
that's great.
we have no designs on the larger shows as far as vending at all. But I do feel like it's a great opportunity for us. We're newer at this. We didn't have any kind of background or ties or connections with people to go shake people's hand and look at them in the face and talk to them like a person rather than an Instagram chat or all this
mhm.
disconnected stuff. It's that
It's
couple
tough.
times a year where you can really connect with the people you're interested in connecting with, right?
It is,
So
and then like the I you got to use these things. You know, I don't want to say the right way, but you got to use them for however works for you. So
Yeah.
mhm.
with Instagram, it's a great place to start a conversation. It's a great place to start what could be a really long relationship, and then you go to a show and you meet the person, and you can talk more and you connect more, and we have this great love of this hobby industry, and it's broad because you and I have ball pythons, but I'm pretty sure you're into other things too.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yep.
And you start talking to people in there, and then you mention like, oh, I went to the movies. Oh, what movie did you go see? Oh, I saw this movie. Oh, wow, it was great. And then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you like movies too, and then that branches out because
Uh,
like I said on the live the other day, I'm like, we're a bunch of introverts that love being extroverted in an intro. Like we're not
Yeah.
super introverts, but when we're around each other, we open up. And like I used to go to Comic-Con all the time, and Comic-Con is nothing but introverts. And I loved Comic-Con because you get to see people kind of like shine. They get to be who they want to be for a day or two, and it's great. These
yeah.
giant costumes that they wear, the look in their eye when they get a comic that they've been trying to get for years, or an action figure, whatever it is. I don't give a shit. If you love it
Yeah.
and it makes you happy, then I'm all for it. You know, I
And
I,
all
I
of those little things you just mentioned, you cannot see on Instagram or
No,
online. You can't
exactly.
see those
Right.
not at all,
reactions. You can't
not at
see
all,
that about a person, right? So
not at all.
that's the
And
reason we're going for sure. But
you got to go to shows, and you do your shows. You're going to do a couple of shows. You might do good, you might not. It doesn't matter. Don't be discouraged. Keep going. Keep showing your face. Keep upping your game every time. Um, there's a few things that I tell people right away. You don't need one of these right away. It helps to be seen. These backdrops help. Um, but get a logo. Get something familiar. If you can make one yourself, make it. If you if you can't afford to have somebody make it for you, that's fine. Make one yourself. It doesn't matter. It could be your face holding a snake. It doesn't matter. Get out there.
Yeah.
Get out there. Get out there. Show your face. Show your face. Instagram, all you want. That's great. But to me, some of the best things is really just going to shows and talking to people and connecting, and just get a table. Even if you only bred 3 animals and you got 8 babies, so what? Just get a table. Who cares?
Right.
Or
So this
share a
is a good
table.
segue.
Share a
Actually,
table.
right. A great segue, though. The kinds of things we're talking about, we don't get to see on these lives. We talk about our snakes, we talk about our animals, but one of the things we love to do, or I know Jamie loves to do, and I don't know if you've seen our show enough or not, but there is a hot seat section, and you're
Wait,
rapidly approaching that cliff here.
I'm waiting for it. I
Um,
love it. I could do this. I
but
could be out here all night. You want to be on this thing? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, and it's been great. I mean, what are we even on? I haven't even looked at a clock or anything. Where are we? Oh man, we're doing. But yeah, let's do that. Let's get the hot seat going because that lets us ask everyday stuff about a person, or lets Jamie ask that you're just not going to get other than these goofy questions, and the responses are always golden. So, are you cool with that? Are you ready for that portion?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right.
Man, I wish you luck. It gets warm over there. Might have to pull the hat off, but here we go. Hot seat time, guys. Good luck, Jamie. Good luck, Angel.
Thank you. Hi, Angel. Wow, it's so fun to
Hello.
listen to you.
Oh, really? Hey, I didn't know
Yeah,
it was that interesting.
you are. I'm learning a lot. All right, so I'm going to do 10 rapid questions and then we'll do 5 word association questions and then end it with 5 questions.
Gotcha.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Ford or Chevy?
Mm. Uh, I don't know. Ford or Chevy? Probably Chevy.
Truth or dare?
Truth.
Beetlejuice or Back to the Future?
Oh man. You know what? Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's a classic. Baseball or basketball?
Baseball.
AC/DC or Metallica?
Oh man. What year are we talking?
Uh,
Uh,
Mid
you know what?
90s.
I've been a Metallica fan since I was a kid. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely go Metallica.
Metallica. French onion dip or queso dip?
Oh, queso dip.
Are you a city guy or a country guy?
I'll probably say I'm somewhere in between at this point, but I'll probably say city because that's where I grew up.
Yeah. Rock and roll or pop?
Definitely rock and roll.
Monopoly or Scrabble?
Monopoly.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Now I'm going to do word association. So whatever word comes to your mind, say it. Blue,
Red.
banana,
Split.
book,
Mark.
fire,
Fly.
clouds.
Rain.
Very good. That was fun. I like those. Okay, here's your questions. What mystery or phenomenon would you like to solve or understand better?
Mr. Don't know. That's a good one.
I always
Um,
want to understand the Bermuda Triangle.
I you know what? There's this book. It's really weird. It's called the Voynich Manuscript, and it's written in some weird language. They can't translate it. It's like
Oh,
super
yeah.
old. And any video I can't stop watching because I'm like, did you guys figure this thing out? I want to look at it and I want to like give me a crack at it. Like it's so bizarre. It's just a bizarre
Right.
thing, and it's one of
Yeah.
those things that I'm like, that's so strange. It's
Like,
so
what is
strange.
it? Where'd it come from? Yeah.
It's
How
bizarre.
do you define happiness?
I define happiness with the people around me. Really, like to me, it's my friends and family, 100%.
Yeah. Yep. What would you title Or what would the title of your autobiography be if you had to make people laugh?
Uh, I don't know. That's a tough one. My title, I would. Um, what did he say?
Yeah. Yes. I love that. Good answer. Good answer. Okay, and now my one of my favorites. If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose?
If I could hang out with any cartoon character, you know what? I gotta say Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
I gotta say Bugs Bunny. The I don't
Love
know.
Bugs Bunny.
It's great.
Yeah. And the last question is, what would you like to be known for?
Um, making people laugh,
Yeah.
being helpful. I don't know. I don't know.
Laughing's good for the soul.
I don't know. I like cracking jokes. I like making people comfortable and
Yeah.
just chill. Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome. I appreciate you, Angel.
Thank you. I love the questions.
You were
You
being a
you
good
could have kept
sport.
going. I know. I love that stuff. I was waiting for the one you asked Kurt and Nikki about
Oh,
the moment in history. I was thinking about that one, and I was like, I don't know. Like that's a
feel
tough
free
one.
to answer.
That's a tough one. For some, you want to know something? Like I've had a billion things, but the one thing that comes into my head would be to see Jimi Hendrix play at Woodstock.
Oh, yeah. That
I
would
I
be, yep.
that just I don't know. That would be phenomenal. Like just
If
phenomenal. I
you
mean,
if you could go to Woodstock, what would you wear?
whatever they're wearing, I don't care. Go with it. Go with it. Bell bottoms, tight
That's funny.
shirt. Yeah, at one point they weren't wearing anything. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what's in the cup they hand me. I don't know.
Right? Too good. That's funny. It is. That's fun. That's it. Yep. As usual, thanks everybody for coming out. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and follow button. That's what I got.
That's
All
what I got.
right, we'll let Jamie off the hook and let Angel off the hook at the same time.
I did
Jamie
want to
was
ask you,
cracking me
you
up
guys.
there, but
I did want to ask you one question.
sure, sure.
And I wanted to know how are the cups working out for you guys?
Amazing. We were
Okay.
getting to that. That was going to be our next round of
Yes.
discussion.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not
Yeah.
just snakes for you.
Sorry.
Um, no, it's perfect. We were headed there anyhow because we did. We ordered up the hatchling tubs. In our case, we use the V18s, so they're a little bit wider, I think, than some of what people are using, or maybe like a
Hmm.
4 inch wide. And I want to say ours are closer to 7, something like that. So it wasn't the cut down sides on them. It was still the smaller cups, but you didn't
Right.
have to do your custom tooling along the sides to fit the narrow tubs. In other words,
Right. Right.
beautiful. I mean, they've been amazing. We haven't had one spill.
No,
The way they are
they hold
actually the
twice as
way,
much water as what we had in there, which is super
yeah,
helpful. Yeah.
and
Now
the way they're
they're awesome.
shaped. There's something about, like, even though the bedding, everything we've done in those tubs is the same, they don't get the chips in the water. I don't
Mm-mm.
know if it's the
Oh, that's
conical
good.
shape that they
Might
approach it different.
yeah, it might be the angle. I don't know what it is, but you're right.
It's really, I have not had to pull chips out of the cups at all, and I was constantly scooping out of the, because we use the little, oh, what are they like? Not, I don't want
The
to say a
the
pastry dish, but like a little custard cup, the ceramic
Oh,
style.
yeah.
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 Um, just a disaster to clean. You know, the bottom's not finished with a nice porcelain finish, so that gets all the crud on it. Doesn't come off. All the edges are ribbed around the outside, and
Right.
nothing comes off
I
bad.
had those too.
It's just a terrible pain to clean, and these things are a godsend. So,
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't use chips, so hearing that definitely helps because I use unprinted newspaper, and for me, the bowl they knock it over, and I got to change the whole. And it was a nightmare. So I started designing these things because I'm like, I need something because I'm tired of changing all the waters, and then I come back an hour or two later, and then it's like, I gotta change because I don't want them sitting on, wet paper and so on. So constantly like dealing with them back and back. So I ended up, taking some time. It takes me a while because I'm really critical about how I make stuff. And when I made the design and I threw it in there and I kept checking every day, and nothing had spilled, and I was like, this is incredible. Like, I got to make more. So making more of them, and I was making other things. I wanted some hide boxes, so I made hide boxes because they don't make hide boxes that fit inside of the Reptile Basics tubs. You get I have the narrow ones. I have all three sizes.
Right.
But in my experience, I've had ball pythons for years. Ball pythons are a pain in the ass to feed. One of the best ways to get your babies to eat is a hide box.
Yeah.
But most hide boxes, they open on the side, and that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I just went out and I designed, and it took a long time. And I finally came up with something, and they slip right in, and they have a front opening. So things go in and out, and boom, the babies eat. They eat every time. I might have one or two that might grab it and drop it or so, but they're still striking. They're still going for them. And this was probably the first year that I think I only had like 2 babies out of 16 clutches.
Wow.
That didn't want to eat.
Yeah, big difference
it
in
helped
hide,
so much. So between hide and the cup, it's just so much easier. It's just so much easier with that.
So Vance must have some of these too, because I see in the chat he said I think it's the angle and the height, and that he's got to be talking about why the chips and stuff, like cocoa chips, aren't getting into the water, right?
It's got to be great.
Yeah.
Because
so
I know how much of a pain.
Do you have any handy?
I do. I have a couple
that you can show. So the thing that got me, Angel, this is the thing that got me. The first one I grabbed the little solo cup, right, and I put it in there, and it literally like popped into place, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I got one that just fits.
Yeah.
Really. They all are that way. Every one I grab, it's the same thing. They all pop right in. And so I mean, it's pretty precision.
So these are them here. They come in. Yeah. I make them a bunch of different colors. So I'll show you this one here. So they're just, it's a cup holder. There's no bottom, it's not solid. They're pretty strong. You can squeeze them, you can drop them. Like, these things
they're very sturdy.
They're pretty strong. Yeah. So, and they fit the 4-ounce cups. So when you put it in, you can hear it. You hear it kind of snap right in.
Yeah, like it clicks right in there.
They pop in and they don't fall out.
That's amazing. I mean, they're perfect.
But if you want to take it out, you can give it like a little squeeze. It pops out, snaps back in, or you can just snap them out like that. But for me, massive game changer. Tired of cleaning up cups. These don't get spilled over. They hold 4 ounces. This is the same cup that goes in. It's a solo cup, so I think it's the same one that goes in most of like the Freedom Breeder and ARS. I think it's the same size. I'm almost positive. But this one, for me, it was great. And again, I have Reptile Basics. The Reptile Basics, which they have 3 sizes, and I'm like, okay, well, I made a 4-ounce cup. I need for the next size. I want to get something for the next size, because that little cup for a 600, 700 gram animal, it's great. They probably won't knock it over still, but they definitely need a little bit more water. So I made a bigger one, and then I just kept going. So I made them. This is an 8-ounce.
Oh yeah.
So same thing. It snaps right in. So you can get your 8-ounce. Okay. And I was like, well, 8 ounce is great, but we have bigger snakes. So, so I made a 12 ounce. Gotcha. This is a 12 ounce. Also snaps right in.
Nice.
So you got your 12 ounce cups. This will sit totally fine. Oh, wait, that's not the 12 ounce cup. This is it. This is a 12 ounce cup here. 12 ounce cup snaps right in.
Okay, nice.
So again, it's not going to come out.
Yeah, they're just great. They really are.
Yeah, but if you're feeling like Freedom Breeder envious, and you want to get a 16-ounce cup just like theirs, I make a 16-ounce version. Also, snaps right in. Nice. So, getting that Freedom Breeder envy, you want to get that 16-ouncer.
Yeah.
16-ounce cups. And because, again, I'm making these hides, so I have these hide boxes that fit right into the Reptile Basics. They'll go right into the front. They could sit right on top. So if there's what I really like about this is if the paper is soiled and I don't get to it right away and they don't want to sit on it, they'll sit on top. They have a
Oh
lot
Sure.
of space to just hang out on top and get away from the mess and not have to be sitting in it. So this helps with that. And then some people were like, "Oh, can you do it this way?" So yes, I make them with the side opening for gecko. People have geckos or they want to do that. That's totally fine. Again,
Gotcha.
same size as the other one. The whole I have models for you can put your doorway here in the front, or if you want, I have a top hole model too. If you like that, I know some
Like a
colubrids
humid box almost.
I do have those as
yeah.
well. I don't have one here, but I have them with the lid. But some people that have colubrids, I had colubrids in the past, and I feel like, especially with like something like a hog nose, they want to kind of come in, go into something, and move back and stay away from without it being exposed like this. And
Sure.
and just some people were like, "Oh, I have the V18s, or what is it? What's the smaller one? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. That's the one that always
Remember what
throws
that
me
was.
off. Because
But
ours
that
are
one,
the team.
so like they have the smaller ones, and then Freedom Breeder and ARS, they have their narrow ones too, and mine don't fit. Like these don't fit in the narrow ones, so I made a smaller one. So this one fits. That one will fit right
Nice.
inside. It'll fit perfectly in there. And if you have those original V8s, I can't remember what they're called, and they don't have, some of those don't have water cups. So I make the cup like this. So this will
Yeah,
fit. So you'll
that's
see,
what I was talking about. Yep.
you can
That's
see
awesome.
it's flat on the sides. So with the difference being, you can see this one is completely round, and then this one is not.
Yep. Fits that
But
narrower tub.
they both fit the same
Same
cup,
cup. That's
same cup
awesome.
size. So you can see I can take the cup out. Fits in both.
Nice. You
And it was
put some time into testing that too. I mean, it's obvious when you get them and you snap those cups in and out. You're like, damn, these things are spot
They're
on.
legit.
I
Yeah.
You're spot
I
on.
don't I don't know how other people do things, but it takes me a really long time. It has to be like perfect, it has to work great, it has to look great. And I was making all this stuff and my wife is like, "Are you selling that?" And I'm like,
Not
"No,
yet.
You should.
just for me." And
You
she's like,
better start.
I think you should start selling those." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Nobody wants this stuff, I don't know. And
Yeah.
it turns out people do want it. So I want to make, I wanted to make, so I just make a bunch of different things, and I make these hooks too,
Oh,
because
cool.
we have kind of little jerky guys, and
Yeah, we do. We
sometimes
do indeed.
sometimes you need a little hook. They're
Just
really
to
strong.
remind them it's not food, right?
It's
Just
not
to
food.
remind them.
So they're really strong. They can hold a decent amount of weight. I actually made these, or the reason I made these was for Tucker, for his green tree pythons. He wanted
The condos,
something.
yeah.
He had showed me what he had, and I literally have made a dozen different versions of this before I decided on this. So this stupid thing took like 2 months to make, just for this, because I was not happy. I was not happy. It took me forever to just really decide that this is what I was going to make, and it's great. It works great. I use it like when I get little jerky little babies. It's helpful because it's not the hand grabbing them. They maybe just need a little coercion. You kind of pull them out, and then you put them in your hand, and then you're good to go. So it saves that initial bite from nailing you. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's no big deal. Let them bite you."
But that's stress for them too.
But
I
I
think
feel it. I
is.
do. I feel it. I
Yeah.
feel it's stressful. I don't really feel like being bit either, but I feel it's stressful. I feel like, if I can avoid that, if I can help that avoid, then that's how this works. But then with the high boxes, you have that medium, that small tub size from Reptile Basics, and then you have the next size up, which is the same. I believe it's the same width as the size you have for the V18s. I think those
yes, I
are the
think
same
so.
size. So I have high boxes for those too. So these
Okay.
will fit. This is the next size up from these. You can see.
When you say
Yeah.
high boxes, that means that there's no space really between the top and the.
With these, there's about with the V18s, this is going to be a little on the higher side.
Okay.
So I do make them shorter. If you wanted a little shorter, I
Yeah.
I have them a little shorter. These are 2.5 inches tall, or 3. No, these. Yeah. So you see this? These are a little taller
Yep.
than
The
these.
reason
Gotcha.
the reason I ask is we've got, so to be honest, from a hide standpoint, at
Hmm.
one time, probably 3 years ago or so, there was hides in all the tubs, right? And we kind of got rid of that for the most part, but we still have some. So now it's more by personality of the snake. There's a snake
Hmm.
real hesitant about eating. We throw a hide in there, it works. That snake eats now constantly because it feels good. But where you run into trouble is you've got this space, right? It's a couple inches from the top of the hide to the top
Hmm.
of the enclosure when you slide the tub out, and they get up on there. And the next thing you know, you can't get the tub in and out
Right.
because the snake is wedged between them. So
Hmm.
if you had a hide that went up where it was just like a quarter inch short where they can't get up there, that would be helpful
So
Yeah.
these
for
are
me. It would
these are so the Reptile Basics ones are a little taller
be.
than
Yeah.
the Vision ones. So
Mhm.
these give you about an inch and a quarter or so space. So it's more than enough room to slide it in and out. So
Sure.
for the Vision ones, instead of them being these are, I think they're just 2.5 inches tall. Instead of being 2.5, they're 2 inches tall. So they're just a little
Okay.
shorter. So they fit
And
much better.
And it's funny, we'd find that they were up there and they were cool, they were comfy, and they weren't
Oh
snug
yeah.
in there. But as soon as they start to realize it's moving, they
Tighten up.
puff up. You know,
Yeah,
they
and then
bunch up
they
and they
start.
push against it. Yeah,
And
yeah,
if they were wet, you hear that squeak, as you
yeah,
pull it
yeah,
open, you know. So
Yep.
like,
yeah,
so for me, it was. I think also like starting out in the pet industry and doing so many shows and never finding what I really wanted. And what do? I go to like the dollar store, or I go to Home Depot or something. And what am I? We're just finagling stuff. I'm cutting holes in things. I'm making this, getting Chinese food containers or whatever. And aesthetically, I don't like it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yes, I'm a breeder. Yes, I have these animals, and yes, they serve a function. But when it comes down to it, I do this shit because I want to hang out with them. I do this because I love these animals, and they don't need to sit in a takeout container when I can give them something a little
Yeah.
nicer. Like I kind of like that's just me though. Like but mind
yeah.
you, I've done that shit for years, and and it works. Does it work?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it works. Do the little ramekins and stuff? Do they work for? Yeah, they work. Do that. You have
Ramekins,
to
that's what they are.
work work within your means
Yes,
if you need to. Like that's the point of this. And then as you progress, then you can invest a little bit more in something different. You know,
Right.
yeah,
and for me, making these and knowing that they can serve a function not only for me but for other people, then I want to extend that. And I have a billion other designs that I'm working on that I want to bring forward so that people can say, "Hey, this is cool. It really works. Oh my God, this is such a time saver." Or some people have them in big sterilite containers, and they don't. There's no molded cup. Or people have
mhm,
them in a glass cage, and they have the same problem. The animal keeps spilling it, or whatever. So I have another couple models that I'm working on too. I have some bigger ones. I'll show you guys next time. But the
oh no,
uh,
you're fine.
the thing is,
I
they.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know you've got this stuff going, but we had a tough
Mhm.
time. Like we knew what we wanted in the cups, and we got your links and stuff for your Morphmarket and your Instagram and that stuff down there. But is there a place people can go find your printed stuff?
Not yet. I'm working on that.
Okay, I
What
didn't
I
know. And
Right now
okay,
it's Instagram. Just shoot me a message on Instagram. You can, or
gotcha.
on Morphmarket if that's easier, whatever. And I try to I want to work with you. I want to find out what it is you need and try to get you the best uh, the best deal I can, because obviously the more you buy, the cheaper it can be. Um, and I want to make sure that it's something that's going to really work for you, because uh, it works for me. So I can only speak from experience. Like, these cups have saved me so much. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, the amount of time that I do not have to go and change
Yeah.
cups. I mean, you know now, but
Yes, I
the
do. Yeah.
fact that I
I
don't have to even think about it anymore.
No, I haven't done since I put those cups in all those hatchling racks. I haven't done anything with them other than, okay, we're gonna put some fresh water because they've been in there for 2 weeks, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's no issues at all.
And the thing is,
I can't say enough how different it is. Literally, I was in there
I appreciate
daily
that.
pulling stuff out of those cups
Yep.
or swapping them so I could clean whatever. And Jay's right. I mean, you go in there, the water's low, you add it. If it's something's looking funky, pop the cup out, stick a new one in. Take
Hmm.
your time, do it somewhere else. It's
Yeah,
been
and they clean
way
easy. Like
better.
these things, they
Yeah.
like. I was surprised. I thought the biggest problem I would have with this was cleaning it, and some soap and water, and it comes right off. It comes right off,
Yeah.
and
Yes, thank you, Vance.
it saves me so much time. And I can imagine, because like if you're an up and coming breeder, and let's say you have reptile basics, or you made your own rack or something, and you couldn't afford these molded cups or molded cup tubs, or freedom breeder rack or whatever, you know I know what that's like. I
Hmm.
know what it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what it feels like when you're like, shit, man, I'm so tired of this cup, this cup, every time, this bowl, this what, like, and
Yeah.
it was driving me nuts. So I had to find a way. I had done other things where I was doing things with cups, and it was just, I
I gotta
had
ask.
something, and I couldn't figure out what I needed.
I gotta ask you though, because we didn't do the hides.
Mhm.
Did you do any kind of research or studies to determine if the snakes ate better with your hides or with the hide that smelled like shrimp fried rice?
I I would hope it didn't still smell like that, but
Okay.
I think I think because of the way mine kind of fit in those tubs, I think they do work better because they fill the space better versus just kind of like something that's gonna kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These things, they fit the space. And originally I was gonna make them where they kind of V'd out on the top so that they really stuck in snug. But what
Yeah.
what got me nervous about that was we all know that these tubs sometimes in the middle they bow a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's not
Mm-hmm.
always going to be consistent from front to back. So what got me nervous is what if they try to wedge in that
Hmm.
little tiny crack and they get stuck. So with
Right.
these, you don't have that problem because there's enough space where that's not going to happen. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
can make, like, originally I was making a hide that went from top to bottom and V'd out all the way. So they had no space. They just had a hide and it was all the way in the back.
Hmm.
And as I was I never got to printing it, but as I was designing it, I was like, I see problems.
Yeah.
I foresee problems. I see this being a problem for the animal. I could see them getting stuck. I could see someone at some point trying to open it and it's stuck and they can't even pull the damn thing out and there's an animal in
Yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to avoid all of that.
Right. And hey,
So,
the snake will get in there. They'll jack that thing up and somehow get some chips stuck underneath one side, and
mhm.
now you got it cocked. I mean, they'll do it. They'll figure out how to do it for sure.
Yeah.
And you won't
Yeah.
realize it because you can't see.
Mm.
And as you're pulling,
No.
it's pinching and it's pinching them down and like you don't even know it. So
Yeah.
I wanted to try to make these things as idiot proof as possible because I'm not an engineer. I'm not an engineer. I'm just making stuff that I think makes sense to me. And my wife
Yeah.
is
Right.
like, you know what you're doing, right? And I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, well, you know what you are. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, you're a product designer now. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yep. And
and at the time I had like just like a cup and a hide box, and now I have like, I don't know, like a dozen different designs.
I was
Awesome.
gonna say you do have like a lot of different prints set up too, right? I mean, not
Hmm.
beyond what you got. You talked about one time, wasn't it in the range of 100 different prints
Yeah, I
you
feel
had?
like 100. I looked in my thing and it had like 110 different prints, different ideas. And I was like, oh my God, I got to go back to some of these because it's been a while. But
Yeah.
I work on a couple different things. Tucker from Purple Rain, um, I've been working really closely with him because he has chondros. And there's a lot of stuff out there on the market for chondros. But he's like, well, this is what I use. And this is what what I prefer. And he was talking about perches and cups and all these things. And
Yeah.
so right now I'm working with him to make things that work, for the chondro community. I don't have a chondro, so it's hard for me to say like I know it works. So I make stuff, I give it to him, he tries it out, and then he's like, mm-hmm, and then we move on to the next thing. But I can't because I got to go back, and then I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna tweak it a little bit more. So I keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. So
Right. Right.
I've made a couple purchases for him, and he likes them. He says they work really well.
Yeah.
Rat solutions. I'm not sure what she has in mind there, but yeah, some things for rats might be kind of cool, like a little
Uh,
box for the weens to get on to reach the water easier, or
yeah,
something like
I
that.
have I have a couple ideas for like some food hopper type things for like snacks and stuff uh for
For
rats.
supplements.
You know, for
Yeah.
like things like that.
Yeah.
Like if you feed, like I feed sunflower seeds and they just fall through the thing. You know, and it's like,
Right, right.
you know, and I've noticed with rats, they don't tear stuff apart. Like you're not gonna get like if you put a bowl in there, they don't sit there and like chew on the bowl. They don't like rip up the bowls. You know, they do pretty good.
Yeah.
Unless it's a way out.
Unless it's way out, then they will do
Yeah,
everything they
then they'll
can.
be chewing
Yeah.
the hell out of it. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
but for the most part, I try to be as practical as possible. You know, without
sure.
going overboard.
Yeah. So that's something you got in the works, is a way for people to see what your prints are and have like a marketplace up for that,
Hmm.
right? Maybe is
I'm
it a
trying to
web
figure out
page
what.
you're thinking, or
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do like a website and you know kind of have that plus animals on it or something and see, um, and show some some of the process too. You know, some videos I have. Like people like watching printing videos. I don't know why. I can
yeah,
tell you this much. I do find it very relaxing to sit and just watch the printer go layer by layer. You know, like,
Right.
and then
yes,
after a
for
while,
a
I'm like,
few
I
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like for a few minutes, and then I'm like, well, I gotta
Yes,
get out of here because it's been, you
yes,
know.
exactly. Yeah,
Now, now it's
So,
driving me nuts. Yeah.
because the thing is, like, you know, especially in the beginning, you know, they tell you got to watch the first print. You got to watch the first print because if that first layer doesn't go down, you know, then the whole thing is shot. So you got to make sure that first
right.
layer goes down. So, you know, I'll sit and I'll watch that first layer. Luckily, I have kind of graduated and I invested in some better, faster printers.
Okay,
So it's not like this anymore.
Yeah.
You know, these
right.
things are going, so
Yeah.
they're
I was
going
gonna.
a lot faster.
Right. Right.
So, but that changes things
Nice.
too. So doing this and people tell me, oh, you know, is it fun? You know, should I get one? You get one. It's fun, but it is extreme. It's extremely frustrating to a certain point. But there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. It's not a plug and play thing. It takes a while. You can download files from different websites if you like making toys. You know, then it'll make it easier. But going from designing something to producing it, like from A to B, it's a much longer road because I'm constantly printing and testing and printing and testing and printing and testing it all along the way, where I'm even printing just parts, just little pieces of the thing to see if it fits. Does this fit? No, it doesn't fit. I need to make it smaller. I need to make it more angular. I need to make it more rounded. I need to make it taller. Like, and it's
Right.
just the amount of filament I'm throwing away or I'm disposing of that is just prototype stuff. Like I have mountains of prototype stuff. Before you even see anything, the amount of prototypes and the amount of testing I've done with my animals is weeks and months and such ahead. And I use PLA
It's
Plus,
rabid
which
cat.
Couldn't you hear
I
her?
I don't know if you could
Uh,
hear that.
I could hear.
oh,
Um,
jeez.
and the material I use is a PLA Plus, so it's a little stronger than your regular material, and it's more
Yeah.
heat resistant. So the
Okay.
regular stuff, if you were to leave it in the window of a car, when you come back, it's going to be kind of warped.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This has, I think up until like 100, 125, 130 degrees, and then it starts to get funky. So in an enclosure,
Okay.
you're fine. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it.
Well, you better
You
be, or
know,
nothing else is fine.
that's right. So if that's
Yeah.
melted, then something's wrong. So,
Yes, absolutely.
so
Yeah.
that's
No,
like,
it's cool stuff, and it's a cool angle, and I was going to go the perch direction. I knew you had the connection,
mhm.
to see the
I like the
chondros and
perch,
what they needed. But
and it's fun because I get to mess around with like shapes and like branches and like I don't know, and then I show it to him and he's like, oh, that's so cool, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making weird shit. I'm just trying to like, because how fun is it to just sit on the stick like, hey, have a couple more to go up and down, maybe over here. I don't know. I'm just messing around. But
right, right.
that's part of the fun of it for me is trying to not only find the function but also try to find like a cool aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I have so many
Yeah,
colors. Like I like using tons of different colors because I've looked around at different things and most people have black and you know they'll have like it's always black but they'll have like maybe like a handful of colors, two or three, four. You know, I have probably like I don't know how many, like 9, 10 different colors. And then, if I don't have a specific color that you're looking for, I could try to find it,
You can
you know.
find that filament.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And I may end up
Vance
adding it
says
because,
something too, which you probably could do. Some rat wheels. I know that couldn't be too common. All you got to have is a center
there's,
spindle and a wheel,
there's,
right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many different things, but it's really like making sure that, it's going to be like appropriate. Like for me, again, I just take so long to produce stuff because I want to make sure it's right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that testing phase and prove out phase is really where you
Because
got to be the
the
bottleneck.
last thing I want is for not just you, but for your animal to have a problem. That's not why I'm
Right,
doing this. I'm doing this to solve problems, not create problems.
right, right. Well, I'll tell you what, the cup rings, I mean, you don't make the cups, obviously, but it's for a specific cup, which is very nice and very easy to find. But those things, I'm telling you, that has saved me probably since we get. Oh, how long ago did we get them? 2, 3 weeks. I
I
bet
think
you
so.
that saved me 3, 4 hours of screwing around in those couple weeks.
And I
You
know
know,
the pain. I know the pain.
yeah. So definitely, highly recommend anyone even curious get one or two and try them. You'll fill your rack with them. You will. And I'm glad
Yeah,
we got the quantity we did because I'm like, dude, we need more. But so we'll be back for more of those for
just let
sure.
me know what you need. And then I also try. I don't do super custom stuff, but I'm willing to kind of work with you to find out what it is that you need, because if you need it, then most likely other people need it too. So I should probably
Oh,
make more. So I try to work with people. Like the medium hides, I wasn't not making medium hides, and someone was like, "Can you please make me medium hides?" So I started making medium hides for somebody, and then I was like, "Okay, I'll just start making medium hides," and that's fine. I don't mind, but I was using them for myself, and like all my prototype, like anything that's prototyped and doesn't quite work out, these guys have got it. Like they use it. Like I throw it in with them,
Yeah.
and it still works just fine. So I have
Sure.
some of my
Yeah.
older stuff in there with them. Some of my first models, they got all the first stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, going from there, website's coming. We
Hmm.
know this, right? We're going to see some products out there and they're going to have base pricing, or how do you feel like you're going to go about that? I know you have a sense of what each one of these runs is going to
Hmm.
cost you. So,
So like it's like that thing, you buy one, you want to try it out, it's going to cost like a certain amount, but once you hit like, I might, I'm kind of going in like the dozens and up, like 12, 25, 50 up, you know, but I also want to work with people as much as possible, because if you don't need 100 and you only need 80, then just order 80. It's okay. Like we can work it out. It's not a big
right,
deal. You
right.
know, it's the communication part. That's how I can help you. Communicate with me and I can help you. Um,
Yeah,
if you're like, oh, is there a possible, can you make the high box a little taller? Can you make it shorter? Can you, like, none of that is impossible. Like I can do all of that. That's fine. Just give me a little bit and I can work on it. But coming up with something brand new can take me a bit longer.
yeah.
sure, sure. But a great resource to go to, and you're going to understand the conversation, which is nice. Like
And
if
I've
somebody
had
explains to you
lots of
why, you're
different,
going to go, oh, okay, I get it.
and I think because I've been around for so long and I've had so much experience with so many different animals, from geckos to monitors, colubrids, pythons, like I know I have a pretty good idea what you're talking about. If you say like, "Oh, I have a chondro, and he just does this and this," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about." Yeah, or like you have a carpet python, and you're like, "Oh, he just doesn't want to sit in the hide box. He's always this." And this. I'm like, "All right, let's see what we can do for you." Like, I'm always open to having the conversation, and if it's something I can't do, I'll tell you. I'm like, "Yeah, I can't do that. That's crazy," but you
Sure.
know. Again, I like simple. I'm really simple about things. Simple, functional, and just easy maintenance. Because the last thing you need, somebody was like, "Oh, can you make this rock hide?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's gonna have a lot of crevices, though. You're gonna
Yeah.
scrub it."
Some
I'm
Right.
like, I
sharp
don't think you.
edges. Yep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
if you have 30, 40 animals, the last thing you need is to spend time scrubbing,
Exactly.
all the little nooks and crannies, when you could just really just give it a quick wipe down with some,
Yep.
whatever you use, and then dry it, put
Right.
it back in.
Get a
Yep,
urate
yep.
on the side of that thing and then give me a ring.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's the thing with
Artist.
these too. Like I've had urates that like will get stuck to the high, but it comes right off. It comes right off. Like just and you don't have to be gentle. Like scrub, I use those the scrub daddies that have like the soft side and the scrub side, and I use the scrub side, and it comes right off. There's no scratches, no nothing. It comes right off.
I've
Nice.
had zero issues with cleaning the parts we've gotten. I mean, nothing sticks to it, so it works really great.
Yep.
But
just don't throw it in your dishwasher. Not like you're gonna put a high box in your dishwasher, but some people have asked me, like, can you put this in dishwasher? I'm like, no, don't put that in with your dishes.
Melt it.
Right.
No.
Well, it could. Gets too close to that dryer element for sure. But dude, it's been awesome. I can't say how much fun I've had just talking with you, getting to know you better.
This is great.
Way over where we're supposed to be time-wise. I was like, holy crap! I didn't even.
I warned you. I could talk. I warned you.
It's all good. But at the end of the night, we close out. We bring Jamie back out because she's not filtering comments anymore, and we do have to do our trivia yet. So we put you in there maybe just to see your reaction to it too. But she just picked something out of that. Holy crap! How long have we gone here? 2 hours, a little over.
So sorry.
Awesome though. I literally didn't even see what time it was. I apologize, everybody, but awesome talking to Angel. We're gonna get a trivia question out there. Give everybody a breath here to guess as best they can. Our top guy is gone this week, so we don't have to worry about K Diesel sneaking.
Oh, KD's out? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this guy, Angel, I don't know if you've been following or not, but this guy takes notes every episode. And he showed me, because I know him personally. He's down in Texas, nowhere near us, but we've been friends for years. But he pops it up when we're talking on Facebook or Insta or wherever, and he shows me his notes from the broadcast. I'm like, dude, that's nothing else to do. Like,
paying attention. He's a good student. That's a damn good student right there.
It cracks me up, man. And I see that, that's how the episode went.
He's got the Forge coin to show it, man.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saving for. But anyways, so we're going to do that.
He does. I have like 10 different questions written down because there were so many good ones. But
okay, all right.
This is the one that I chose.
Well, let's see what we got.
What gene is currently making a comeback?
Oh man, that's not fair.
Why?
Well, because we said like 4 of them. Anybody can pick that. Get that off. Pick your other one.
Pick that down, there was Jamie. One specific.
I know which one she's talking about.
I know. I said that specific phrase. But
you're saying the special, right?
No.
We're not doing this one?
No. I would no. Okay, get that off of there. There's too many. We mentioned like 4 in that conversation.
Okay.
Jamie.
Then I'll switch it. I'll give you 2 seconds.
Oh, that's funny. I remember specifically saying which one, but that's still not fair. We talked about like 4. Okay. Yeah.
The one that I was thinking is disco.
Oh, okay. So we were all on different pages. John and Jamie were on the same. I don't think Angel was on the same. I was not on the same.
I don't know. I was thinking vanilla.
Yeah. See, you were thinking vanilla. I was thinking special.
I was thinking vanilla. I thought special at first. But
this one is, I think, also kind of easy.
Okay. Yeah.
That's cut and dry.
Yeah, but what are we going to accept? We'll get to that when the answers roll in, I guess.
I guess Angel will have to give the...
He said where he grew up.
Thumbs up or thumbs down on it when we get some answers here.
Yeah, but this could go different ways, and Angel knows what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here we go. This is the correct answer. Jose.
There we go. Jose, first visit to the nice. Token board.
He's
going to get a gumball with that first.
Jose's great. He's great. Yeah. I was on with him once too. It's great. I want to do it again. We got to talk. I got to talk to you.
Jose's awesome.
He is. Both these guys, I could see these two getting along too with that fire disco vanilla stuff.
No, we did. We had
a damn good time. Like I had a damn good time talking to him about this stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we couldn't have had a better guest. I mean, honestly, your background, your history on it, your stories, your personality by itself fills up the entire show. We didn't have to work very darn hard. So
No.
we're
I
going to get you
appreciate it.
back
Thank
when we're
you.
feeling
Thank you so
lazy.
much. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm always down to jump on. You know,
Yeah.
it's there's always something new to talk about or something old. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either
Oh, it was
or.
awesome to meet you in this environment. We watch your show with Irresistibles out there,
Appreciate it.
Curtin,
And they're
Nikki,
great. You
and
know, it was a just like a blessing to meet them and connect the way that we do.
Yeah.
yep,
They're awesome.
absolutely. So thank you again so much. Really appreciate it, and we definitely will have you back because this
Appreciate it.
conversation is going to go on for, well, probably as long as we're in snakes, because you're stuck with us now, Angel.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I opening up the circle is what it's all about. You know,
Sweet.
we again, like I said, when I first started, nobody talked, there was no connections. Everybody was so, separated. And if you had a mentor, you had to be lucky that you had a good one, because some of them weren't that great. But
Right.
I had bad experiences with people, and I got in and out and so on and so forth. But today, the way that we're able to, I'm not going to say the whole community, but the way that we are able to connect with people in the community to strengthen our groups. That's why we say like in your circle, because it's huge. The market is huge, or the industry is huge, and lots of people, and we know lots of people. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're super close with them, but we know lots of people, and then we know there's people that we don't know and we don't talk to and associate and all of that stuff. There's enough room for everybody, and there's enough room for everybody to have their little circles, and
Yep.
our circles all overlap. We all overlap with each other, and we,
They do.
that's how we all meet each other, and that's how you find out. Because Craig said it the other day from Bash. He said some of the best stuff isn't on Morphmarket. We're talking and trading on the side. We're selling to each other on the side. The coolest shit. Some of the coolest stuff is in our holdbacks.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or knowing what's coming and not letting it get to Morphmarket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this
Because
clutch is about to pop, and it never sees
absolutely.
Morphmarket.
And there's stuff that I'm working with. I don't even talk about, and it's not that it's hidden. It's just I haven't, it's in its infancy. Like I have Tri-Stripe. I work with Tri-Stripe, but I don't have any available. But I'm working with it.
Yep.
It's
That's the thing, in getting to know each other well enough that you understand what's going on and what's in the works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome, man. Really do appreciate it. Last little chance, we're going to give you a couple seconds to just throw out your shout outs to anybody you want to shout out, and also what's coming up for you, if we got to look out for you coming on another show.
Well, just our weekend with Irresistible. So shout out to Kurt and Nikki. Irresistible. It's every Saturday, 3:30 our time here in Pacific. 3:30, and also shout out to Tucker, Purple Rain, and Dylan from These Balls and Exotics. He lives 2 blocks from, like 2 minutes from me. He's right down the road. And honestly, like, to the community in general, like it's a great community. Keep each other up, keep each other positive. Respect each other, and listen to each other, because that's how we learn. We're gonna learn and grow by listening and sharing. And
100%. Yep.
I don't really have anything coming up. I have a show next month in Puyallup out here. It's July 17th or something. I can't remember.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, you just want to shoot the shit, you want to talk about snakes, that's great. You can shoot me a message on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, Morphmarket's fine too. If you're interested in any of the animals, or if there's anything you've seen tonight you want to check out, I don't have everything on the Morphmarket. Or if you want to know what I have coming up, shoot me a message. And if you're looking for any hides, cups, hooks, anything cool like that you need, any specific colors, anything like that, just shoot me a message anytime. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Awesome. All his stuff is down below too, guys. In the video
Appreciate
description, we put all his links in there. If you have issues finding this stuff, get a hold of us too. We'll lead you over there. But Angel, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, man. Awesome to meet
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
We're going to stick you backstage. We're going to say goodbye to everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see you in just a second. You hang out for a moment?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Sounds good. Let's do that. And close out with thanking everybody that came out tonight. It was a fun show. I don't want to apologize for the amount of time we went on because we had a blast. Angel's an
Great.
excellent guest, and
Yeah.
I could have easily sat there for 3 hours and done this. But
Oh yeah.
we do have to cut it off to give everybody a fair chance to do their Wednesday night. It gets late. East Coast people are sitting at almost midnight. We're at almost 11 o'clock, and West Coast they're getting off easy, sitting around 9 o'clock. So anyway, guys, appreciate it. Much love to everybody out there that comes out every week. Thank you again for supporting us. We're growing fast. The numbers are getting good. We appreciate it. Get your aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, everybody out there to hit that subscribe button. If they're 5 years old, they can push that button. I don't care if they watch the show or not. Let's get those numbers up. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. I'm teasing. Don't get your damn nephews on there. All right. Have a
Or
good
maybe.
have a good
Yeah.
night. All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Peace out, everybody.